absolutely will be lucky enough to be.
We are. Hang on, Jason. I want you to talk more about this because this has become something that we kid a lot, but that really means a lot to you. And you don't donate a fair amount of your time to Second Harvest Heartland, and they're just great people. So more on that and some humor with Jason when we finish up the show on this Monday here on CCM.
Hang on. Chad Hartman will be back shortly on News Talk 830 WCCO.
More than 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. One unexpected expense can mean rent over meals. I'm Matt Meyer with Napleton's Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. 830 WCCO present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, benefiting Second Harvest Heartland. Please tune on Tuesday, February 4th, and help us raise much-needed funds. At Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood, we are proud and honored to be a presenting sponsor of End Hunger Together, alongside Compare Financial and Linda's Construction. Here's why. Far too many wages are not keeping up with inflation, making everyday grocery staples suddenly unaffordable. In 2024, Second Harvest Heartland provided the record-setting 145 million meals to our neighbors facing. With your help, just $1 can help Second Harvest Heartland distribute 3 meals for our neighbors in need. Napleton's Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood, News Talk 830, and Second Harvest Heartland. Thank you very much for helping us end hunger here in Minnesota.
Selling your house in the winter is easy with a guaranteed cash offer from Chris Lindahl Real Estate. There are no showings, no repairs, and you can leave everything you don't want behind. Find out what your offer would be today by calling 763-401-SOLD or visit chrislindahl.com and start packing.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, and they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
More than 50% of people nationwide are living paycheck to paycheck, and the cost still soaring. Household food budgets are one of the first things cut. I'm Andy Lindis, president of Lindis Construction. 830 WCCO and Lindis Construction present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, benefiting Second Harvest Heartland. Please tune in on Tuesday, February 4th on 830 WCCO to help us raise much-needed funds. At Lindis Construction, we are proud and honored to be a presenting sponsor of the End Hunger Together Radiothon alongside Compare Financial and Lexus. It's hard time for families right now. In 2024, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region facing hunger. With your help, just $1 can help Second Harvest Heartland distribute 3 meals to our neighbors. That's $1 for 3 meals. Linda's family, News Talk 830, and Second Harvest Heartland, thank you very much for helping us make hunger history here in Minnesota.
Everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries. When's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Custom Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Custom Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Custom Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at TrustinWill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's TrustinWill.com, offer code RADIO. Custom Will is an online estate planning service. Visit TrustinWill.com for details.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Enjoy Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed TurboTax.com/guaranteed.
Chad Hartman.
Relentlessly curious, definitely non-ideological, dipping into pop culture, dipping into sports, dipping into economics, technology, medicine, also, of course, politics. Will enjoy here on board.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
This was part of the Quincy Jones tribute from last night, playing Grammys tunes all so long. Jason here, he's next to Linda's Construction. Time check. Hey, it's 2:50. Time to get energy efficient with Infinity from Marvel Windows and save 50% off installation labor. We all have the opportunity, Jason, to, with our time, with our money, with our thoughts and prayers, with our words, to be involved with various causes. And it carries potentially a different amount of weight depending on what you do. And obviously, you're a well-known public figure, and you can pick and choose which causes you'd like to be a part of. And I know, I kid you, but on weekends throughout the year, you're involved with a lot of charity causes. But Second Harvest Heartland has become a big part of your life. Why did you end up so affiliated with Second Harvest, and why are they so good?
Part of it was because of Seth, my oldest, spent an entire summer volunteering over there. He was there, packing food and all of this, and I had done it off and on, and I've because I cover food and because I'm a food critic, like often the restaurant world is very kind of plugged into hunger because you see it. You see people come to the back door,
right,
and you also see the abundance, right, where we have so much. And so when you look at the abundance, especially when you look at the state, you have the largest food companies in the world, right, in the state. Like, we have people who are hungry. It just doesn't make sense. So Seth was volunteering. When I left TV, I got the opportunity to get more deeply involved. And so I'm on the board of directors. I feel like a fraud on that group. You've got the CEO of Cub and these big shots from General Mills and Post and Target. And I'm like, I host a little talk show. I don't know. But it's amazing. It's been amazing to be a part of that group. And especially right now where we're talking about like that Feeding Our Future fraud trial that's going on right now.
Interesting time.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time to be a part of a hunger relief organization. And tomorrow I'm sure we'll talk about some of this, but it's two different things. I should say that.
Completely.
It's so different.
The idea that enormous scam happened, that's true.
Yes.
But that does not involve Second Harvest.
Nobody more outraged than the people who are busting their butts to actually feed people.
So we'll talk all about that tomorrow. A little canopy, and then Jason gets you home.
The real estate market and our economy are shifting fast. Hey, it's Benita. With recent market changes, interest rate fluctuation, and a slight shift toward a buyer's market, you need to be fully informed about the real estate market and how to best protect your equity. My good friend John Schuster of Coldwell Banker Realty Douglas will be hosting another free 45-minute online seminar. You'll be able to learn more about how interest rates and realtor commissions have changed, how to make thousands more in your home sale by having your home properly prepared for the market. There are only 4 webinar times available. Tuesday, February 4th, 11 and 6. Thursday, February 6th, 11 and 6. Sign up today. This is the last week to register. The best time to sell your home is during the spring market, and that's just weeks away. There are only a few spots left. Go to johnschustergroup.com. Click the banner at the top of the page marked Home Seller Forum.
Home Seller Forum will get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Drive time coming up in just a minute, Chad. I started the YouTube stream a little early, so you could be a part of it today.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
I'm
back. This weekend I was out embracing winter. I was in it.
I was too.
I
Had
saw
a tea time at 105. And,
I was at the Minnesota Ice Festival.
Oh yeah.
The wind.
We were there a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh. It was great, but you know what? I don't need this wind. I don't need the snow. I'm on it.
You guys look cold.
We were very cold. And then we went to 2 ice bars. How about that?
Oh.
Why not? Embrace it.
What the heck?
Embrace it. I am doing the show today in a sweatshirt. which
Really?
I know, surprising,
What's
right?
happened?
So I'll give you one guess as to why I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
It's somehow tied to Instagram. You've got a new sweatshirt company that you're advertising.
Fair guess. Fair guess. If the Canopy Group wants to send me a sweatshirt, I'll wear it in the stream. But I go to the Wolves game tonight.
Oh, of course.
Homer.
Jason DeRusha is next on News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis St. Paul, an Odyssey station.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Matt Piper. Chance of U.S. aid outside its D.C. headquarters after workers were told to stay home and lawmakers were barred from entering. It oversees humanitarian programs in countries around the world. But now President Trump has ordered it to be merged with the State Department, run by Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Every dollar we spend and every program we fund will be aligned with the national interest of the United States. USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that there's somehow a global charity.
Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin.
This illegal, unconstitutional interference with congressional power is threatening lives all over the world.
President Trump says his threats of tariffs are already paying off after a call with Mexico's president led to them being held off for now.
They've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever, 10,000 soldiers at their side of the border and stop fentanyl and illegal aliens from coming into our country. They have a big incentive.
He's speaking with Canada's Prime Minister now and China's president soon, with tariffs against them set to begin at midnight. If the tariffs go through, CBS's Stacey, where it may hit the wall.
The U.S. gets about 30% of lumber from Canada, so that means new home prices could rise. We also import a lot of agricultural products like meat and grains from them, so expect an increase there as well.
A possible purge at the FBI. There's a deadline tomorrow for the FBI to turn over to the Department of Justice names of agents for potential actions against them just for working on January 6th cases. As many as 5,000 FBI employees are being subject to it. Former federal prosecutor Laurie Levinson.
FBI agents really are the front line on safety and security for Americans. Not only do they investigate crimes, but they prevent crimes. So the impact of these wholesale firings is really incalculable at this point.
Parties are getting underway in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. Homeland Security Secretary Noem is there and says security preparations have been underway for months.
The Super Bowl is the biggest Homeland Security event that we do every single year. And this will be the 11th time that New Orleans has hosted that event.
A 30-second commercial during this year's game, $7 to $8 million. We are getting a glimpse of what's next for former President Joe Biden. Creative Artists Agency, CAA, he has signed with them for representation again. They repped him after he left the vice presidential office from 2017 through 2020. CAA reps Biden's White House predecessor, Barack Obama. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 24 degrees at 3:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Jury selection is underway in federal court in Minneapolis in the trial of a woman who is believed to be the ringleader of the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. Amy Bach denies allegations that she found a way to steal millions of dollars earmarked to feed needy children during the pandemic. A new report shows Minneapolis is making significant progress when it comes to police reform. Community Safety Commissioner Todd Barnett.
This includes revising old policies, writing new policies, a significant focus on training and use of force reporting, addressing the backlog for police misconduct investigations.
That's according to an independent evaluator monitoring the city's efforts as part of a 2023 Minnesota Department of Human Rights settlement agreement. The Minnesota Senate is now controlled by the DFL after the swearing in of its newest member today.
I do.
DFL State Senator Doran Clark is taking over the seat left vacant by the death of Kerry Dietzig.
Until now, the chamber was tied 33 to 33, and leaders had been working under a power sharing agreement. But that changed when the balance of power shifted. DFL Senate Leader Aaron Murphy acknowledged the progress made in the last couple of weeks.
The ability to balance our interests, to work together in committees, to build relationships with one another.
But Republicans expressed disappointment and fear. Republican Senate Leader Mark Johnson.
This vote today, members, is a vote to delve back into a partisanship in which one political party controls the entire agenda, cutting off half of the state's constituents.
That's WCCO's Susie Jones reporting. The family of a 19-year-old college student buried and killed in a landslide files a wrongful death lawsuit against the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Jack Loso was killed when a sandstone cliff at Minneopa State Park near Mankato gave way in December of 2023. He was a student at Minnesota State Mankato and had been visiting the park with his sister and cousin. A freak accident is raising the question of a helmet requirement for high school hockey coaches. 44-year-old Jason Jensen was running a girls' practice in Victoria Friday night when a player accidentally ran into him, causing him to fall and hit his head on the ice. He was not wearing a helmet and is in critical condition with serious brain injuries at HCMC. Jensen is also a lieutenant with the Lakeville Police Department, where Chief Brad Paulson says the whole ordeal is ironic.
Of anybody, Jason is one that almost goes out of his way to stay out of the limelight. He does not like attention. He is a very selfless individual and just focuses on serving others, whether it's our community in a police officer role, whether it's our staff in a leadership role at the police department.
Paulson says the department and the community have come together to help Jensen's wife and 2 young kids. WCCO News Time is 3:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Much improved road conditions over this morning. Roads, for the most part, on the dry side, but you still want to use caution on the ramps and the bridge decks, city and secondary streets. Some of them melting and refreezing is happening, so you might run into some scattered, slippery stuff yet. 35E northbound ramp to Maryland Avenue. Accident working there on the ramp. Kind of right at the start. Look for the left side of the ramp to be affected. Traffic on the main line itself at 35E. Trying to get the posted speeds looking good between 94 and 694. 694 westbound is midway past Lexington. Got a 18-wheeler off to the left side into the left lane, causing a little bit of slowdown there. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn McCreevy Funeral Chapels and Cremation Services has been providing compassionate and personalized service for over 160 years. Honor your loved one and ensure your own wishes are met. Call 612-377-2203 or visit washburnmccreevy.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Light, maybe one. I finally have some snow to talk about. We'll take a break tonight, mostly cloudy, falling back to the single digits. It stays chilly tomorrow, basically a cloudy sky with a high of 15. Next round of snow comes Wednesday. Should be light, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Another round is coming late Friday into Saturday. This one has the potential to bring even more snow.
Cloudy right now, 24 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's not just what we talk about, it's how we do it. Hear the difference every day. News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
All right, let's go. It is Monday. It is February. It's great to have you with us here at Drive Time with DeRusha. It's Jason. Laura is here. Dan is here. And we start with maybe the biggest example of hypocrisy when it comes to you and me and almost everyone. It is the one thing that we know is dangerous. We know it is bad for us. We know it is risky. And yet, 3 out of 4 of us admit to texting while driving. And I feel like texting while driving, I've done it. I'm guilty. I know it is bad. I know it is dangerous, and I know I shouldn't do it. And I can't stop. Can you? 651-461-9226. The reason I bring this up, because texting while driving, we've talked about it. We know it. We know it's bad. This is next level. 20-year-old woman charged with killing a guy. She's driving a car. It's the middle of the day, like right after noon in Detroit Lakes. She crashes into this 81-year-old guy, kills him. And police say that she was watching TikTok videos. She acknowledged, according to the criminal complaint, that her phone was on her lap and she had been viewing a TikTok video when the accident happened. Law enforcement analyzed her phone and said she watched 5 videos. So she was essentially scrolling through TikTok for a 5-minute period of time. She started watching before 12:09, started the last one at 12:14 and 5 seconds. She called 911 at 12:15 to say that she crashed into somebody. Now, her attorney says, they're going to defend her against the allegations and all of this. But I can't stop thinking about this because it is so shocking. And yet, is it? I've been trying to think of what a similar behavior is where it could kill someone. It could kill you. But you do it anyway. Now, I know it's hard to talk about this and it's hard to admit it, right? So at 651-461-9226, you're welcome to share your story anonymously. I'm also really interested if you've maybe figured out a way to cut yourself off from the phone. Now, I have said before that I think it is amazing to me that the technology, the cell phone providers, the smart kind of car technology makers haven't come up with some way to sort of jam your phone, if you will, where you could still make phone calls, but a way that you could really kind of force people to not use it, because it is just amazing to me. You look at some of this data. 26% of drivers, 1 in 4. Look out on the road right now, 1 in 4 admits texting and driving regularly. So more do it. Is this the modern day drunk driving? Is it cigarettes? Is this the modern day smoking? Where people smoke, they know it's dangerous, but they can't stop. Is it a can't or a won't? That's what I'm not quite sure about. Kevin's in Andover. He's on the CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226. Kevin, watching YouTube videos while you drive, it shocking or not shocking?
I see it every day when I drive truck. When I was in Italy, we were told that first offense DUI with no injury is 5 years in prison. They're never going to stop it here because they don't care. The judges make money, the courts make money, the lawyers make money. The state makes money when they charge you $750 for your W license plates. If they wanted to, it'd be a mandatory 90 days in jail and you lose your vehicle, and it would end in a week.
Yeah, I think you're right. But your point that we don't even crack down on drunk driving to that level I don't. You look at some of the data. The distracted driving is maybe worse. Is more pervasive than drunk driving. That's for sure. It's why do you think why you think it's money? That's the reason that they won't crack down?
Go sit in a Brooklyn Park or a Minneapolis or a Coon Rapids courtroom and watch how many people get their drunk driving charge reduced to reckless driving and a $2,500 fine.
No, it's true. It's true.
Kevin, there's the court fees and the court costs.
Are you do you worry for your own safety out there? Because I mean, being in the truck, you can look down and you see people kind of watching. People are really watching full on videos.
I have a 97% chance of surviving an accident with a car.
Yeah, I suppose the odds are worse for the ding dong watching TikTok, right?
And my personal car is a Grand Marquis. It's the fancy version of a cop car that's designed to be bashed in by cops for the last 40 years.
Yeah. Kevin, I hope you stay safe out there. Thanks for calling and for listening. We appreciate it. Alan's in Golden Valley. Alan, it is one of those things that if you ask anybody, they know that it's dangerous, but people just don't stop doing it. I don't know if they truly believe it's dangerous or not.
Well, Jason, thanks for taking my call, and I'm going to answer your offer for comment by asking you and WCCO and all radio stations this question. How often do we get the invitation to text in during a talk show on radio station ABC and offer our comments on any traffic or if the snow has arrived or if we see a funnel in front of us during a tornado watch? And I often wonder how many of these people taking up that invitation are responding with a voice-activated text versus getting their little finger digits out and quite active like that woman the other day.
Yeah, the in the voice text, like now I have it where like I can voice text, and it's always been like this, but it's much more accurate now. It's pretty good, right? So when I'm driving, that's how I'll text. But
absolutely,
you make a valid point. I think about it too, and I wonder, like, do I need to tell people like don't text and drive when I ask people to call in? Does that help? I don't know. I don't know if that would help or just be sort of virtue signaling, right? If it would make a difference. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just the radio stations. It's even Waze.
Yeah.
It's Waze or Google. Do you see an accident
report
on the side of the road?
Yes. I often wonder about that. Like, what level of distraction is it to go into your map program, report that there's like a speed trap and that sort of thing? I don't know.
Yes.
Very good. Alan, thank you. Thanks for the call. 651-461-9226. Jason, we can't stop. It's called addiction. There's more cell phone addiction than all the other addictions combined. I want you guys to react to that. Because Dan and I were talking about that before the show. Is it that we can't stop, that it is addiction? And I'll be honest, when I put my phone in the glove box, because I don't trust myself to not pick it up. So I got to put it in the glove box because I feel that addictive pull. Or is it just we all think we're brilliant multitaskers? 651-461-9226. TikTok videos. Watching TikTok. It could be YouTube. It could be anything. Watching videos while driving. Next level here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'll tell you what, the advanced safety technology in the 2025 Lexus vehicles is next level. There's no reason for anybody ever to have their hands on a phone when you're in a Lexus. The connectivity is amazing. The safety features up and down these vehicles, it will wow you. It's Jason here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. And when you look at like the Lexus NX, oh, it's a sweet car. Connected, you'll be connected, but safely. Now, the RX has this customizable touchscreen multimedia display. So all of this technology in the vehicle, in Lexus, it's all designed around the idea of keeping you safe. We are so grateful for the support of Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Tomorrow, they will be out with us as we fight hunger in Minnesota, the End Hunger Together Radiothon. We couldn't do it without Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. So say thank you by stopping in for a test drive and experience amazing.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
I love my Patriot Cigar Company. Premium hand-rolled cigars blended by some of the best master blenders in the industry, using the finest aged tobacco from Nicaragua. 4 different blends and complexities to satisfy any palate. Get the Patriot Cigar 5-cigar sampler pack free when you spend $100 or more using promo code STONE. 5 free cigars on orders over $100 with free shipping. MyPatriotCigars.com, promo code STONE. MyPatriotCigars.com, a premium smoke for freedom-loving patriots.
The real estate market and our economy are shifting fast. Hey, it's Vanita. With recent market changes, interest rate fluctuation, and a slight shift toward a buyer's market, you need to be fully informed about the real estate market and how to best protect your equity. My good friend John Schuster of Coldwell Banker Realty and Paul Douglas will be hosting another free 45-minute online seminar. You'll be able to learn more about how interest rates and realtor commissions have changed, how to make thousands more in your home sale by having your home properly prepared for the market. There are only 4 webinar times available. Tuesday, February 4th, 11 and 6. Thursday, February 6th, 11 and 6. Sign up today. This is the last week to register. The best time to sell your home is during the spring market, and that's just weeks away. There are only a few spots left. Go to johnschustergroup.com. Click the banner at the top of the page marked Home Seller Forum.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
This is not bold. It's stupid, buffoonish, childish. This is just amateur hour.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I mean, a 20-year-old charged with killing a man. And the police say she was watching TikTok, scrolling through TikTok, watching videos while she was driving. 81-year-old man dead. We can't break our addiction to this. And I don't fully understand why. Terry is in Hastings, and maybe it is because it is a straight-up addiction. Terry, thanks for calling CCO. What do you think the issue is?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a big texter, but I do the talk text,
right?
Or I call. I hate texting. I have really long nails. It just takes forever. I don't like it. And girls that work for me, they would know that. Okay, I'm not texting. Okay, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you, or I'm going to do a talk text. But what I was going to say is, I spend a lot of hours every week on the road going from Hastings to Red Wing. and it's just a 2-lane highway.
Right.
And so when you pass someone, you're up close and personal, because it's just 2 lanes.
Yep.
I would say, seriously, half of the people that I'm passing, their eyes are looking down. You know what I mean? Like you can just
you
tell.
can tell. Yeah.
And it makes me so uncomfortable that, first I always used to just worry about deer and all that running. Now it's like I'm worrying about the people coming because they're looking down and they're not looking straight. It just makes me so nervous all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. This story of someone, watching videos while they drive, it is the next progression, right? If you've convinced yourself that you can drive and you can text, then the smartphone, it's just one more step to say like, oh, I could be like scrolling through Facebook or looking at TikTok. Like, I don't know if it's false confidence that people have, or if they just, a fine, you're not afraid of a fine. So maybe you just think like, well, there's no way that I'm gonna kill somebody. I suppose that's where our head is. Yeah, it is scary. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Don in Minneapolis. Don, you're on CCO. What would fix this? What would get people to stop watching videos or texting or holding their phone while they drive?
Manual transmission.
It's you may be onto something, Don. We have made driving so easy that you barely, like, I have a car, my wife's car has a cruise control where, frankly, the car, like, essentially drives itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It gives you.
Both my vehicles are manual transmission. So
you've never, it would be very difficult for you to be on the phone and on the clutch.
Yes,
and the gear shift.
Tried a few times, but it doesn't work very good.
Not so good. Pretty good. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. Willie is in New Hope. Willie, you're on CCO. Go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. I got 2 things. Okay, every 10 or 15 minutes on everything on your phone, social media, internet, whatever, there'll be a message. No other thing can appear on the screen saying that if you're caught texting while you're driving, there will be a mandatory 5-year sentence in a maximum security prison without the possibility of parole. That'll put the fear of the Lord in them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't even take like actual vehicular homicide that seriously, though.
But what about this idea of having a message?
Yeah.
Take it, and then these media companies, if they didn't do it, they would be subject to a massive fine.
Yeah.
And then here's another thing. How about a sensing device on every car that can tell that when the wheel's moving, they can tell if you, between the car and the phone, that they can sense that you are on and holding that phone or making some kind of a message.
That's, Willie, I think, and thank you for that. I think that is the part of this that is most intriguing to me. So I understand there's some question like, well, what if you're the passenger? And sure, like a passenger should be able in a car to be on a phone. But these cars are so high tech now. Are you telling me that you couldn't link the key of the car, each driver has their own key, to that person's cell phone, and you could disable all the features? I think there is a technological way to get this done. I understand there's some challenges. There always are going to be people who will work to try to outsmart it. But I think at this point, it's shocking to me that there is no tech solution to the fact that, like, we can't help ourselves. Al's in Burnsville. Al, people can't help themselves. The data on the number of people who admit it is staggering, but then all you have to do is look around. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, thank you, sir. Hey, how are you doing today?
Excellent.
Good thing to hear. Say, I just wanted to make a quick comment. Where I was on my way to work a few weeks ago in Burnsville, and I was traveling south, and I had a car traveling north.
Right.
For 2 lanes. One lane stopped for the red light. The other one ran the red light. Now, he was a younger man.
Right.
I simply got out of my car and I asked him, I said, what's going on? Why did you hit my car? And his only explanation was that he was looking down. People nowadays, Dan, they don't pay attention. I do deliveries in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Don't care.
What do you think it would take to change it? What would make a difference?
They need to disable somehow the ignition. If the phone is connected to your car where you can't drive.
Yeah.
Kind of like a DWI, like a breathalyzer type of thing, because it's getting to be more and more of a problem.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate that. A texter says texting and driving in a commercial vehicle is a $2,500 fine, as it should be. How about a $1,000 fine in a car? Would that get people's attention? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think this is still.
I don't know.
I think this is still a matter of people won't rather than can't. We talked about this off air, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier. But I'm of the opinion this is, nobody that smokes a cigarette doesn't know that cigarettes cause cancer, and it's bad for them to smoke a cigarette, and they do it anyway. Nobody who's texting on their phone,
but that's an addiction, right?
Doesn't know. Yeah, but people break that addiction all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody that's driving around texting on their phone doesn't know that that's dangerous.
No, it's true.
They know.
They
think that they're savvy enough, or they think that nobody's going to catch them, or they just don't care, and they do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what breaks this, because I think you can keep increasing the fines, and that might stop one person who gets caught from doing it, but I don't think it stops anybody else, because
what made a difference with drunk driving was a two-pronged approach, right? The fact that you legitimately, and I had a conversation with a friend about this last night. The main reason that people don't drive drunk is because they legitimately fear that they're going to get caught and they're going to go to jail. I think random stops added to that. But I was talking to a friend last night who was saying like, oh, I drove home and you just see a squad car everywhere and think like, oh, I believe I'm okay and I hope I am. And you're like, yeah, that is a deterrent for people. I think the other part of it is it became very socially kind of unacceptable. And you have other options. You have lots of other options.
So many other options.
So I think that has made a big difference.
But I think it pushes back against your point to even have that person say, well, I think I'm okay, but they're still driving home. I don't know. I mean, we have people get nabbed for DWI all the time. How much of a deterrent is the fines and is the arrests and is all this stuff?
I think when you look at the data, it's down so much.
Helps.
But it's not 100%
but it's
compliance.
It's still out there. I don't need 100%, but we need better than what it is now.
Yes.
And
yeah, for sure. I'm just saying the only thing that made a difference in it is the fact that there is a legitimate fear that you could face a real consequence. I don't know that the fear that maybe I would do something that would potentially injure someone else is that that is not getting people to stop texting and driving.
No, it's
not.
I
don't think that fear got people to stop drinking and driving either.
And that's scary to me because, think about it. How many times do we hear stories like this where it's the texter survives the crash, it's the person they hit that dies?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds almost screwed
I just
up,
don't know what will stop.
If I get into a crash, I'd rather it was me that goes than have me hurt somebody else. It would be harder. It would be, I don't know how you live knowing that you caused the death of this other person because you had to watch your TikTok video.
Right. But no one thinks that they're going to cause the death of another person.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's clearly not a deterrent.
I don't know how you change that. Unfortunately, I'm not very optimistic about this issue at all because I don't, that's why I think the cell phone manufacturers and the car makers need to come up with some better solutions. It's 3:33. Let's break. We're going to talk with Chris Cillizza. He is our political expert, national political expert. And we've got a couple of big things, including developing news happening right now about tariffs and Minnesota's DFL chair, the Democratic Party chair in the state of Minnesota, is now the national. He's the big guy, national Democratic Party chair. How did that happen? Why was it so overwhelming? We'll talk to Chris Cillizza next.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, it's Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl. Arms wide out. You know the arms wide out guy. What you may not know is that Alyssa and I work with Chris Lindahl. We were looking for a house last year, and it was just an absolute joy. The reality is there are two kinds of people. Some people who are thinking about moving. I'm always thinking about moving. Want to upgrade, want to move to a different neighborhood, want a different situation. And then there are people who are ready to move, ready to rock. And you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're expecting more kids or relocating for work, or maybe there's a death in the family or a divorce or whatever. Life happens. Here's the truth. Whatever your situation is, the more ready you are to sell your house, the better a guaranteed cash offer looks. Chris Lindahl Real Estate, the whole team, they are top-notch. And the beauty of the guaranteed cash offer is you don't have to negotiate. You don't have to pay commissions. You don't have to do repairs. No showings. No nosy neighbors going through your underwear drawer. No sign in the yard. It's just boom, boom, boom. Here's the offer. You sell it as is. You pick the closing date when you're ready to rock. Don't stress out. Let Chris Lindahl do the work for you. I trust him. You will love this experience. ChrisLindahl.com. If you are ready to move now, the guaranteed cash offer is how. Get it at ChrisLindahl.com.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
More than 50% of people nationwide are living paycheck to paycheck, and with costs still soaring, household food budgets are one of the first things cut. I'm Andy Lindis, president of Lindis Construction. 830 WCCO and Lindis Construction present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, benefiting Second Harvest Heartland. Please tune in on Tuesday, February 4th on 830 WCCO to help us raise much-needed funds. At Lindis Construction, we are proud and honored to be a presenting sponsor of the End Hunger Together Radiothon alongside Compeer Financial and Lexus. It's hard time for families right now. In 2024, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region facing hunger. With your help, just $1 can help Second Harvest Heartland distribute 3 meals to our neighbors. That's $1 for 3 meals. The Lindis family, News Talk 830, and Second Harvest Heartland, thank you for helping us make hunger history here in Minnesota.
What's your love language? Maybe letting your loved one sleep in for a full night's sleep, or giving someone the gift of being pain-free. Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. Minileaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
College sports hold a mythic place in American culture. But sometimes the drama off the court overshadows the action on it.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything, including some of the biggest scandals in college sports. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast, available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
So it's semi off the left side, creating a bit of a slowdown, West 694, as you make your way past Lexington Avenue, traffic slows past the scenes. We're going to be traveling up on a little bit further, 10 westbound, not too bad at ride 35W, heading out toward Anoka, 94 eastbound near Gale. Looks like we may have a possible crash working there as you head towards St. Paul. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At Newgate School, we've turned donated cars into success stories. For 49 years, we've helped underserved young adults in the Twin Cities learn automotive repair skills with zero tuition. Your vehicle donation can teach, fund, and also provide reliable transportation for single moms. Learn more at newgateschool.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Newgate School brings us Chris Schaefer's forecast.
We chill tonight and tomorrow, falling back to about 3 and only warming to 15 tomorrow afternoon. Next round of light snow on tap for Wednesday. A daytime snow that could yield 1 to 2 inches. It will be warmer with a high of 27. Keeping a close eye on a round of snow coming Friday into Saturday. This one has potential to bring more accumulating snow.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it's 23 on CCO.
Drive time continues on the roads and on your radio. News Talk 830 WCCO.
One of us has made it. Minnesota's Democrat Party chair gets selected as the guy to lead the Democratic Party into whatever its future is going to be. We will talk about that in a minute, but Chris Cillizza, our political expert, is with us live from the airport. This is impressive dedication. Are you on a plane? What is happening?
I may be on a plane by the time this ends, but currently I'm waiting to get on a plane.
Are you one of these, like, you stand in line right away and try to push your way onto, like, group one? Or what is your boarding technique?
Here's some insight. Normally, no, but I'm giving a speech in San Antonio, so I get to fly first class.
Oh, wow. Lottie, what is this like? I mean, I'm just a humble radio host, Chris. Like, there's no first class for DeRusha.
Yeah, a lot of judging of you.
I'm just jealous. It's sheer jealousy. When I would get on a plane and people would recognize me from my TV days, and then they'd see me going to sit right next to the lavatory in the back row. They're like,
totally.
What's going on?
There was a row back there.
Right, exactly. All right, you talked about the most beautiful word in the dictionary, tariffs. Donald Trump talked about that during the campaign, and I tell you, everybody who is wondering, is Trump just full of it and it's bluster and he's not going to do it? He seems to be doing all of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you can be many things, but I don't think shock or surprise should be one of them. I mean, look, I think what they're doing to USAID, where I have a number of friends who have worked for many years, and there's my wife's closest friend has worked on AIDS in Central Africa through USAID, which I don't think is sort of a partisan thing. So many of the things he's doing, I think you can be object to, but you can't be surprised by any of it because he's doing exactly what he said he would do.
Mexico gave Trump a win today. So the tariff, your avocado and tequila lovers get a 1 month sort of reprieve as my question to you about what Mexico offered up, and they said they would bring 10,000 troops to the border to try to stop fentanyl ingredients or fentanyl from coming into the United States. Is this a legitimate kind of win that Donald Trump achieved, or is Mexico just sort of saying this? Like, do we know if this is like a substantial thing that they're offering up?
Short answer is I don't know. He will declare it as a win no matter what. I mean, look, I don't think ultimately he really wants these broad-scale tariffs to go into place against our major trading partners because, look, here's the reality. If they do, it means that there is going to be a major, trade war.
Right.
I mean, and I don't think he wants that. Because that means that prices will go up and he'll get less popular. It's not complicated. So I actually think the concession route is the route he wants to go, so he can say, I mean, my bet would be he's in some of these meetings saying, hey, look, just give me something.
Right.
You know, like give me
something.
Totally. Just give me something that I can kind of, hold on. It's like a fisherman. Like I need a fish to hold up and say I caught it, you know?
But what
and
is...
I think there is some of that.
In Mexico has that, right? Mexico can offer to bring, and frankly, if there are more troops stopping the flow of fentanyl from the United States, wonderful.
Great.
Have the win.
Absolutely.
That is great for America. What does Canada have to offer? Because I am highly skeptical that there is any sort of legitimate issue with any kind of fentanyl ingredients coming from Canada. Give me a break.
Or undocumented immigrants coming from Canada.
Yes.
I mean, it's a
minuscule.
Right. And, I did a little thing today, Jason, on the 51st state thing, because he just keeps saying it.
Right.
And I do think it's funny because if Canada became a state, it would be the biggest boon to Democrats in modern memory. I mean, we haven't added a state since Hawaii and Alaska in 1959. And Canada is pretty democratic. And it would be 45 more electoral votes for a Democratic nomination. It's like, even if he got what he wanted, it would be the dumbest thing for Republicans ever. So it's just sort of, who knows what he's going to sort of get them to concede to. To me, China and Mexico are going to throw a bone at some point. The question I have is, Mexico and Canada. Right. China is a stickier wicket. Yep. I just because they are another major superpower, they are not going to just be like, oh, we have to do this. I mean, the reality of the situation is, look, it is true that tariffs would hurt America, but it would hurt Canada and Mexico more. You know what I mean? There's no question about that. With China, it's a little bit more of an open question there. And so, look, I just don't know how much of this is a negotiating tactic and how much of this is he will do it. And maybe it's a little of both. I mean, right? You always have to kind of be willing to take the most extreme measure in a negotiation. Otherwise, you lose all your leverage. Right. And if Donald Trump knows anything, it's negotiating.
It's the art of the deal. It's always the art of the deal.
I would recommend to people, I know people may not want to do this, but I really do recommend. I went back and read it again recently, that book, and I really do think it is worth that minimum skimming.
I mean,
just to sort of understand how he thinks. It has not changed.
And the key to this being a real negotiating hammer is the fact that he will do it. I think he will do it. He has started laying the groundwork, too, to prepare Americans for the fact that there will be short-term pain.
Which is interesting because he had on the campaign trail essentially said, hey, look, everything's going to be totally fine. And yes, of course there will be. There's a reason. Tariffs are really something you use in a time of real crisis or war when you are trying to keep you're trying to make manufacturing and other production happen in your country, right? You're making it very hard and expensive to do it outside of your country. Well, that's not where we are at the moment. And I think, we've not seen a circumstance like this before.
Chris Cillizza with us. So What is the name of his Substack that you can subscribe to at chriscillizza.com. Ken Martin overwhelmingly elected the new national chair of the Democratic Party. And it wasn't even close, even though some of the big donors to the Democratic Party, some of the big names nationally have lined up in support of the current chair of the Democratic Party in Wisconsin. Why did Ken Martin just absolutely overwhelmingly get elected Democratic National Committee chair?
Yeah, man, because it's not really a race that national donors and national figures have a lot of say in. It's 443 or so Democratic National Committee people. These are like the nerds of the two parties. Like these are people who have been involved in Democratic politics forever, and so they're not as persuadable by Chuck Schumer endorsing someone as someone else might be. So I think Ken Martin started as the front runner because he had the most support among the committee members, and he won relatively easily, despite, as you point out, lots of donors and sort of the elite of the party were with Ben Wickler, the Wisconsin party chair.
What do you think? Is there a message here? I mean, Minnesotans know Ken Martin like a lot of well, I don't know how much the regular Minnesotan knows about Ken Martin, but he certainly has been instrumental in a lot of the major Democratic figures in this state. Ken Martin has been a part of it. What does this say as the Democrats sort of figure out how do they recapture the working class vote? Does Martin say anything about that mission, or is this really a little more of an insider-y kind of wonky thing?
I think it's the latter. And I think, if Rahm Emanuel had run, and some of these like bigger national figures had run, it might have been, okay, we're seeing something about sort of where the Democratic Party needs to head. I think the average person has no clue who Ken Martin is, which is fine. I mean, it's a party committee job. It's not an elected office where you need to go out and get votes. But, I was a little surprised at sort of the tone he took after he won. He essentially said, my job is to go lower, like turning to Michelle Obama when they go low, we go high thing on his head. I don't know if the reason that Democrats lost this election is because they didn't out Trump him.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That's an interesting diagnosis of what went wrong.
Chris, thank you, Chris Cillizza. Have a great speech, a safe flight.
Thank you, my friend.
Chris,
always a pleasure.
Always good, Chris Cillizza. I mean, that's pretty good. That's dedication to the show. I like to see that.
Absolutely, right? I mean, would you call into like Chad's show from the plane? No, I wouldn't. No, nor should you.
Absolutely not. We are streaming on YouTube. If you want to see what this show looks like, I don't know why you would, but you can. If you go to the WCCO radio channel on YouTube, Dan and I are right there. We'll be back in just a minute here on DriveTime.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRusha continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dry January is over. It's over. Now, maybe you're continuing on Dry January on your mission, and Certix says wonderful. They got you covered. If you go to Certix at University in Hennepin, they have 300 or so different non-alcoholic choices. So if you did Dry January and you want to keep the party going, Certix, go visit. If you are ready to ease back in to responsible drinking, Certix there for you as well. In fact, Certix wine buyer Peter has been bringing in so many new brands that my friends Melissa and Taylor said, pump the brakes, buddy. The good news for you is that going into the store at University in Hennepin, it's a new experience. There are new brands, new experiences, new things to try, new things to sample. Ask the experts in the aisle, say like, hey, what's new? Here's my budget. They'll hook you up. Then take the bottle of wine you pick up. This is my February challenge for you. Pick a bottle of wine, go into the cheese shop and have them pair a beautiful Certix cheese. Go see Certix. You can shop online at any time at Certix.com, but visit that store and tell them you heard about it on CCO.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh. We told you.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
830 WCCO and Computer Financial present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, a day-long event to benefit Second Harvest Heartland. This is Jace Wagner, President and CEO of Computer Financial. We're proud to join Lexus and Lindus Construction in presenting the End Hunger Together Radiothon on Tuesday, February 4th. At Compeer Financial, we support local farmers who produce the food to feed our growing population. Though these hardworking farmers ensure we have the necessary supply of food, we know many in our communities are struggling. Hunger is an ongoing reality in too many homes. In fact, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region last year. On Tuesday, February 4th, we hope you'll make a donation to provide food for families, children, and seniors in our community. Every $1 donated can provide 3 meals to Minnesota families. Join Compeer and 830-WCCO on Tuesday, February 4th as we help end hunger in our region.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TRAVEL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TRAVEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRAVEL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market, shop and store online. Roads are in pretty good shape, but you might find a scattered slippery spot or two. Continue to use caution around the overpasses, ramps, and bridge decks. 35E northbound Little Canada Road, a crash off to the right side. Patrol and first are on the scene. Grab snacking staples at Whole Foods Market. Get 3 kettle and late July potato chips, tortilla chips, and salsas for $9 with Prime through February 4th. Stock up on snacks for a delicious pick-me-up. While supplies last, shop and store online. Terms apply. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCC.
Looking for senior living options? Jordana here. I invite you to check out award-winning New Perspective Senior Living with 10 communities in the Twin Cities Metro. They offer you a friendlier approach to senior living. Call 888-229-2298. 888-229-2298.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, snow's done. Gets cold tonight, low of 3. Tomorrow's high is 15. Next chance for another inch or two is Wednesday. Right now in Minneapolis, it is 23 on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
He is pompous. He is erudite. He is intelligent. He is condescending.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, breaking news, the tariffs on Canada are being paused by 30 days. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will appoint a fentanyl czar. They have a new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl. They're backing it with $200 million. They're pushing ahead with $1 billion Canadian. There's about $7 billion American. Border reinforcement plan. So Trump does it again. He does it again. Unbelievable. CBS will have the latest. We'll talk about it, too, as we continue. How about that? Both Mexico and Canada folded.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance that can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars, featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars, minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
For your big game party, you better stop by Total Wine & More for a guaranteed win. They have thousands of bottles down every aisle, and prices so low they're going to make you smile. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
The station of record for the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
First, it was Mexico. Now, Canada. Tariffs of 25% against both countries have now been put on pause after both seem to have bowed to what President Trump is demanding. Canada's prime minister says they're increasing resources to stop the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. with 10,000 frontline personnel. That's exactly what Mexico's president said she'd be doing at the southern border after her call with Trump. Trump said this before his call with Justin Trudeau.
Canada is very tough. They're very, very tough to do business with. Then we manage of the U.S.
Tariffs on Chinese goods are set to go into effect at midnight, though Trump said he's speaking with China's leaders soon, too. CBS News has learned the Trump administration wants U.S. aid to be merged into the State Department with a significant reduction in funding and cuts in the workforce, but it will remain a humanitarian aid entity. Christina Dreyer is a speechwriter who has a contract with the agency.
I watched some people get fired, and I thought it was just them, and it turned out it was 60 senior people for USAID, and I watched it happen, and that was just absolutely heartbreaking.
Salvage crews have recovered parts of the plane that sank to the bottom of the Potomac River last week after crashing with an Army helicopter. It's now on a barge. Army Corps of Engineer Colonel Francis Paris says they're still trying to identify a dozen more people who were on that flight.
Reuniting those lost in the tragic incident is really what keeps us all going.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy first did look at the crash site in Philadelphia, where a medical jet crashed Friday, killing all 6 people aboard and at least 1 person on the ground.
Whether it's the speed or location of the aircraft, we will get some data, hopefully, off that device.
Several of the 24 people injured on the ground are still in the hospital. Thousands of FBI agents could be on the chopping block. It's all over their possible work on January 6th Capitol riot cases. Scott McFarland is covering this.
As many as 5,000 FBI employees are being subject to scrutiny, according to our latest CBS News reporting. And they had a mid-afternoon deadline to complete this questioning, surveying agents and employees on what role they played in the January 6th riot investigation.
After her big wins at the Grammys, Beyonce announces her Cowboy Carter tour.
Nominate all the Cowboys to the dance floor.
22's tour kicks off April 28th in Los Angeles. She'll also perform in Chicago, D.C., and Paris. Well, Trump's tariffs set Wall Street on a roller coaster. The Dow lost 122, the NASDAQ was down 235, S&P losing 45. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 24 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Some Minnesota business owners taking part in today's so-called Day Without Immigrants.
Mitchellania Bar and Grill in South St. Paul is closed today.
My main goal is to basically let the government know that
we are part of the economic, and we are supporting our community.
Manager Alejandro Morales says the community understands part of President Trump's immigration crackdown.
We are not against people getting deported if they have any criminal record.
He believes it would take just 3 days to find out how much the country relies on undocumented immigrants.
There wouldn't be no food in the grocery stores. There won't be any people who can work in the restaurants or in businesses where there are so many undocumented people working.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar not holding back after President Trump's attempt to gut the U.S. Agency for International Development.
It is really, really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are.
Officers blocked lawmakers, including Omar, from entering the agency's lobby after Elon Musk announced Trump had agreed with him to shut down the agency. Jury selection underway in federal court in Minneapolis today in the trial of a woman who is believed to be the ringleader of the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. Amy Bach denies allegations that she found a way to steal millions of dollars earmarked to feed needy children during the pandemic. A swearing in the Minnesota Senate puts an end to a temporary power-sharing agreement in that body. DFL State Senator Doran Clark takes over the District 60 seat left open after Senator Kerry Dietzick died. Republican leader Mark Johnson says they're disappointed to see the end of the agreement.
This has been a real experiment over the last 3 weeks. Something that has put Minnesotans first again. We haven't seen that for 2 years. But we have done that. I'm proud to have been part of it.
But DFL Senate Leader Aaron Murphy says they will continue to maintain a cooperative spirit despite concerns that the chamber will now dissolve into party politics.
The Senate is open, ready to do its work, and to work across the aisle with one another to do the best work that we can for the people of Minnesota.
So far, the impasse in the House continues with no sign of an agreement. A different look for an annual event that supports Black businesses in Minnesota.
This is the third Black Entrepreneurs Day at the Capitol, but first time the entire legislature isn't here. That's because Democrats are still boycotting the House of Representatives over a power struggle. Event organizer and WCCO radio personality, Shaletta Brundage.
This may be a good opportunity to find somebody new, to let them get to know you, to make your case heard. Some of these Republican representatives are in charge of small business legislation. And so it'll be a good opportunity for them to meet someone new, to talk about their concerns, because they meet their legislator all the time. So this is an opportunity for them to meet somebody new.
Among those here to speak to the entrepreneurs are Congresswomen Betty McCollum and Kelly Morrison. At the state capitol, Al Shock, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Roads are in pretty good shape this afternoon. Just be aware that there might be a scattered surface spot around the bridge decks and the ramps and passages. So get ready for those. If you're going to be traveling North 35 Union Road on crash off to the right side, get ready for the slowdown past scene, West 64. Accident involving the semi's up behind you. He's off the left side into the left lane. 94 westbound from Sonka to downtown Minneapolis. 11 Avenue into Laura Hilltop. Trey Peterson, who talk APO, WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions. What's ahead the next few days?
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
I finally have some snow to talk about. We'll take a break tonight, mostly cloudy, falling back to the single digits. It stays chilly tomorrow. Basically a cloudy sky with a high of 15. Next round of snow comes Wednesday. Should be light, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Another round is coming late Friday into Saturday. This one has the potential to bring even more snow.
Cloudy right now, 24 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Here to inform, here to engage, here to challenge, and entertain. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's prime time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
All right, it's a new month, new show open. We love it. Thanks for joining us here on DriveTime Jason here, Dan here, Laura, keeping you up to date on the news. And indeed, over the last 20 minutes or so, we learned that both Mexico and Canada have given Donald Trump a win. Pretty amazing that he's getting it done. The art of the deal. You don't have to like everything about what's going on. You don't have to like anything. But if you're being intellectually honest, I don't see how you can argue that this threat of tariffs didn't achieve its goal. We'll see what happens in another 30 days, but Mexico says we'll have 10,000 troops at the border and we're going to crack down on fentanyl. Canada declares a fentanyl czar, $400 million backing that effort, along with an earlier announced proposal to fortify their border. I mean, is this all that the Democrats had to do? They could have threatened, made some noise, would have got it done. I don't know. Pretty interesting stuff. Interesting times as we're watching the early days of the second Trump administration. And because these times are so interesting, it's got to be an absolutely wild time to be a middle school government teacher, right? Just imagine talking about politics and civics. And you think of how difficult it is to have conversations with your friends about this stuff. Minnesota Star Tribune did a Mara Clacker, very interesting article about Minnesota teachers finding ways for students to talk politics. Man, it's so important. That's when I first fell in love with government and politics was elementary and middle school. And so I'm really excited to bring in Andrew Waller, who is a middle school teacher at Chaska Middle School. He's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Do I call you Mr. Waller? Is that how we do it? Do they still call teachers Mr. or Mrs. or how do we do it now, Andrew?
They do call me Mr. Waller. Most people honestly just call me Waller, but you're welcome to call me Andrew.
Very good. Well, we're glad to have you with us. I thought the article in the Star Tribune was so interesting that I wanted to reach out and get your perspective on this time and the young people of today, because my level of optimism for adults having tough conversations about immigration and about gender identity politics and all of the, right now, DEI, all of the things that we as adults are talking about. I do, well, you think it's important in the classroom, in the environment of your classroom, for example, for sixth graders to be talking about this stuff?
I do. I think one of the problems we have as adults is we've all become so stubborn, stuck in our ways, and stuck in echo chambers. If we can start having these conversations before kids get stubborn, like us adults are, hopefully, we can teach them the info-seeking habits to kind of curve the conversation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's critical, right? Because if you don't learn, well, why don't you talk about some of the different things you are trying to teach kids? Because you talked about that ability to find good information. How do you teach that in your civics?
Yeah. So if you had asked me this question, 15, 20 years ago, I would have told you I spent a lot of time trying to find neutral sources without any sort of biases.
Right.
And if we're being honest with ourselves, that's becoming less and less prevalent. So instead of grasping for those, we are trying to teach kids to find the bias within sources, find the perspective within sources. So almost no source is off limits now, as long as you can identify the author's perspective, and then also go out and find an opposing viewpoint, and then we can talk that, and, practice having those conversations.
Isn't that interesting? Do you think the has the quality of reporting changed such that there is bias everywhere, or is it just that we're maybe a little more in tune to the fact that there always was some inherent bias in reporting?
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for both.
Yeah.
And I think it's
I
also
agree.
true
As a
that
former TV news reporter, I agree. It's a little column A, it's a little column B on that.
yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of the reporting gets drowned out by commentary these days
Mm.
because the reporting doesn't sell as much as the commentary does, right?
Yeah.
So
People click on reaction, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Andrew Waller is a history teacher, U.S. history teacher at Chaska Middle School. So how are the kids, Andrew? Are they able to have these sorts of conversations, maybe at a lower temperature than you see like in the adult world?
oh yeah, I absolutely think so. It's as a teacher, I always have different voices echoing in the back of my head. One of them is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood,
Hmm.
and I remember seeing years ago that no conversation is off limits. You know, his audience is very young
Right.
kids, but
Right.
you know, when the Kennedy assassination happened, he's talking about that in his program, making it age appropriate. So we can have these conversations. Obviously, we're going to be age appropriate with the conversations, but the kids are, like I said before, they're not so stuck in their ways. I think a lot of times in middle school, we're much more open-minded.
Hmm.
You know, we don't. Kids aren't driving down the road and they see a political sign in someone's yard and automatically assume, oh, I know what that person's all about, right?
Right.
Kids, they'll sit at the lunch table with anybody, and if I disagree with you, it doesn't mean I have to hate you. So it's a wonderful thing seeing kids come together and have these conversations. It's super encouraging. 'Cause kind of like you said, it's discouraging watching some of the adult discourse out there, but kids know how to do it. We just gotta not screw it up.
Right, right, and I also think we can't just buckle to the fear that, you know hmm, how to say this? It's riskier to have any conversation than it is to have no conversation, right? So you could just teach history, you could talk, without touching on any sort of potentially controversial topic of today. But, like, what are we doing if that's the case, right?
Exactly. And it's especially in a relatively low risk environment like a middle school.
Mm.
We're not gonna, ruin anyone's week if you disagree with someone. We need to teach them how to have these conversations now so that they're able to have the conversations later.
Andrew Waller is with us. He's a U.S. history teacher at Chaska Middle School. So how do you broach, like, a topic like immigration? Because I'm sure there are kids in Chaska who have, perhaps are, immigrants, perhaps have, a parent who may be you just don't know. You may have an undocumented
Sure.
parent. How do you have those sorts of how do you frame it? How do you set up sort of respectful rules so you can live in the curiosity zone? How do you talk to the kids about that?
Yeah. To be honest with you, before any heavy conversation happens, there's months of work that's going ahead of time, just building relationships and building trust within the classroom.
Mm.
In my classroom, we just started second semester, and we just started having these immigration conversations. I would not touch this topic in September or October. We need to
So
understand
interesting.
how to trust each other first,
Yeah.
and honestly, even be vulnerable with each other in the classroom. So it's a lot of work teachers are doing to build that before we get into any sort of controversies. And then, with that said, it's there's an old saying. It's really hard to get mad at someone whose story you understand. You can't hate someone when you know their story. So if we know each other's stories and if we've built that environment early on, almost no topic is up.
My high school senior, Sam, is, very interested in politics and government, which to me is sort of amazing. Like, he grew up around the news, right? Like,
Sure.
that has been my life. But, uh, I'm a little amazed that in this environment right now that anybody would find themselves drawn because who wants the headaches, right? But it
Right.
is to me, it was actually it's very encouraging that he, like, uh, me as a young, student was intrigued by this. I went on and majored in political science. I think it is encouraging that, like, kids are still curious and intrigued about, like, the way our government works, and the way policy gets made, and I think that is encouraging. It is teachers like you that you never know which kid you might inspire.
Yeah, and it's fun too. It's a um, especially today. It's not the topic that anyone can ask, "When am I ever gonna need this?" or "When am I ever gonna need to know this?" Right? Like,
Right.
that question we get in schools all the time. It's in front of kids' faces all of the time. It's always relevant to them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun.
It's cool, man. I think it's great. Are there if there's one lesson you've learned from talking to young people about these, issues of our time, the topics of our time that we could apply to adults, an adult conversation, what advice would that be? What would that be?
Yeah, just listen to each other, man. We just instead of spending all our time trying to convince other people, I think the kids do a really good job of understanding other people before they try and convince them of anything. We just gotta be curious.
Curiosity. That my number one fear in life is that we've because of the ability to kind of Google everything and look things up, you can have extremely deep knowledge on one topic. I worry that we're losing some of the creativity, the curiosity in our
Yeah.
world. And I think curiosity can unlock a lot of doors for you, no matter what you end up going into, you know?
Yep, and as long as you lead with that curiosity, we don't
Mm,
try to seek information to confirm what we already believe. Lead with curiosity. Your opinion will take off.
really good. Andrew, thank you for dedicating your. How long have you been a teacher?
Uh, my wife would know. I don't know, 19, 20 years maybe.
How long have you been married, Andrew?
I've been married for 12 years.
All right. Well, you got that part.
Yeah.
Thank you for dedicating your life to and to the kids. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Really good. Andrew Waller, he's terrific. It's true. If you lead with that curiosity instead of trying to like score your point, your opinion will follow instead of your opinion leading. I like it. Let's break. I was curious what was going to happen when people started coming back to the workplace. And, well, let's be honest, part of having a talk show is that we are going to confirm my prior opinion. New evidence showing that I was right all along. We'll talk about that, Gov't.
Drive Time with DeRusha is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Tomorrow is the Make Hunger History. That's not what it's called, is it? Yeah.
End hunger together.
So I have a T-shirt that says "Make Hunger History."
Right.
Part of what we try to do at Second Harvest Heartland is make hunger history. And what we're going to do at the radio station tomorrow is end hunger together.
There you go.
So many three-word phrases. I tell you who wouldn't have screwed this up? Charlie Swanson, my friend, who runs Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Now, I'm probably going to see Charlie tonight at the Timberwolves game. I'm definitely going to see Matt Meyer and Jeremy Mert, the general managers of Lexus of Maplewood and Lexus of Wayzata. I'll see them tomorrow at the End Hunger Together Radiothon. And we tell you about Lexus's support and commitment to make our communities a better place because if you're going to go get a test drive, you already know that Lexus is an unbelievable vehicle. But now you know the people behind Lexus, our local dealer, are great local people who care about you and care about making our community better. I don't know. I think that makes that test drive feel a little bit. Go test drive the 2025 Lexus EX and experience amazing.
You can do this. Why? Because no one cares more about your money than you. Right now, many have concerns about their retirement, their investments. Are these mutual funds a poor investment? Did you know that with the average fees of 2%, you could be missing out on upwards of half of your potential retirement dollars? That's pretty high for management, especially when 75% of these funds underperform the market. At Trading Academy, our mission is to empower you to take control of your investments. Text investing 210-210. Take control of your financial future. Maybe it's to just have a conversation with your broker or a free investing class, local classroom, one-on-one mentoring, how to protect your investments against inflation. Text investing 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
What's your love language? Maybe it's letting your loved one sleep in for a full night's sleep or giving someone a gift free. Mini-Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINELEAF.com. Mini-Leaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see there are 100% natural Mini-Leaf products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINELEAF. Tell them to down
Mini-Leaf means quality. At minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
I feel like everything's clouded by doubt. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7. We guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
First time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all of fatherhood's first, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Drive Time with DeRusha is getting rolling again. Perfect. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
As always, you can reach out to us by text, by phone call, and through our new talkback feature, voice message feature on the Odyssey app. So if you stream our show live on the Odyssey app, you just go to WCCO and there's our show. You can get our podcast and all of that there too. But it also gives you the opportunity to respond to anything you hear on the show on your schedule without calling in or sitting on hold or whatever. And by way of example, we just got this during our conversation with sixth grade social studies teacher Andrew Waller from Chaska Middle School. Here's a reaction.
Rick in Burnsville.
Rick in Burnsville.
Oh, hell no. Sixth graders should not be learning politics. It's just another indoctrination thing for one part of politics. They should be learning math, science, reading. Mike?
There you go. Mike in Burnsville. So I understand what Mike is coming from, where he's coming from on this. I believe that our teachers can lead with curiosity. And you can, I'm not saying you should have a lesson that's teaching here's what the proper, immigration policy is. But I do think you can have a lesson where you talk about what is the role of the presidency. And you can use current examples. So, you could have a lesson about the three branches of government and talk about executive orders. And you can talk about immigration policy. I believe you can have these conversations.
And just as important as that is understanding how best to talk about those things, right? If you listened to that interview with Mr. Waller and you got the idea that he was trying to indoctrinate kids to one side of the aisle or the other, then you're listening to a completely different interview than what I heard. That's not at all what the aim of what he's doing.
I call him Waller. We kind of
call him Waller.
We have a vibe.
If we're going to ever find a way to get people together and on the same page and have some sense of unity in this country while we disagree
Yeah.
about policy matters. It starts with kids understanding how to talk about these things, how to have civil conversations
Yes.
surrounding politics and surrounding policy. And that's what he's driving at. So I'm 1,000% on.
Now, I will say that I think Mike's concern is not just like out of left field, because we have seen time and time again with examples, and I don't think it's the norm, but I do think it does happen, where you have teachers who sort of are bringing their own politics into the classroom. I also think that that's okay. I don't think that's as horrible as people seem to think it is. I believe that as a parent, if you can't convince your kids of your opinion, you suck. B, you're not having conversations with your kids, so you don't even know what's going on. Also, I think most kids, the biggest influence kids have in their life on their political opinions is their parents. When I talked to Seth and Sam about that, they would talk about classmates basically parroting whatever it is their parents say. As, I don't know, that's pretty normal. I think sometimes kids, you figure out your own politics by going off to college, or you have other influences, internet, whatever. But I think it's okay. Like kids can have a conversation. Should we be doing like vote for the Democrats conversation? No. Like that's not, I don't think that's really happening.
Not in schools. No. And to circle back to your point, no, Mike's concern isn't completely out of left field, but his reaction to that interview to me illustrates part of the problem, which is just we hear teacher, school, politics, and we slap the narrative that we've been using for however long onto it without actually listening to the conversation and what's going on. And when we're speaking in narratives at each other, rather than actually trying to understand one another, that's where this thing goes off the rails. And that's what Waller's trying to work on.
And the reality is it's indoctrination if you disagree with what they're teaching.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
So that's sort of the reality as how it goes. Leading with curiosity, fostering conversation. That's what I like. We were going to talk about, did you do this just so I couldn't celebrate the fact that my view on bosses being bosses when we get back to people coming back to work? You just didn't want me to celebrate that I was right?
No. I mean, I would.
Is that why we're out of time for me to
look at the time. I would
about
never,
the fact that
I would never do such a thing.
We'll circle back to this, but the Washington Post has a story today about sort of strict policies coming back in the workplace, because America's bosses are so stupid that they are 0% learning what I think is the main lesson of the work from home era. The reason people like working from home is mostly because they hated how oppressive and micromanaging bosses were in the workplace. The fact that you could be the most efficient, awesome employee, and the butt kisser who spent more time sitting in their desk would get more credit for being a better employee. We are returning to stricter policies. The work culture with perks and flexibility going away because bosses only know one lane, and that is the boss lane. To me, if a company can figure out how to do in-office work with the lessons that, with listening to what employees have been saying over the last couple of years and actually apply those to the workplace, which is, yes, you have to come back to the office, and we are going to be flexible for you to live your life. We are not going to check in on your whereabouts all the time, but your job is in this office. No, instead it's strict policies coming back because bosses have to boss. All right. And I told you. I told you it was going to happen. That there is no reason to believe that the managerial class, the middle managers of America, were suddenly going to become enlightened and become great. No. They're playing the hits. 433. So disappointing. It makes me so mad. We're going to take a breath. We're going to cleanse the soul. It is Monday. It's time for Dan Cook's Monday Message, and we will do that in a minute here on CCO.
Jason DeRusha returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I am so glad to tell you about my friends at Tariffs Dermatology and the incredible availability that you have to get an appointment and get in within 3 weeks. It's Jason from my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tariffs. And if you've tried to make an appointment with a dermatologist lately, you know how hard it is to get in. And if you're a new patient, good luck. It could take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get in. I don't know why you would be trying to get in anywhere other than Tariffs Dermatology. They have 7 locations. There's one near you, I'm sure. They just opened in Farmington. I'm so excited about that. They're in Hudson. They're in Eagan. They're in Roseville. Go to the website, TariffsDermatology.com. You can make your appointment right online. Request that appointment. They'll get you in within 3 weeks. Why do you need an appointment? If you've never had a full body skin checkup, you should do it. Skin cancer is no joke. I've got it in my family, so I get the full body skin checkup every year. My wife goes to Tariffs Dermatology, but they treat acne, eczema, you name it, they've got you covered. And the people, you'll walk in the door and be like, I don't know what I was nervous about. Tariffs Dermatology, TAREEN dermatology.com.
At News Talk 830 WCCO, we don't just read the news, we take you into the storm before it hits.
This could be the biggest winter storm we've seen all season.
We're there as heroes rise to meet the moment.
Get everyone clear, now!
And we pull back the curtain where questions demand answers.
Governor, can you comment on the latest fraud case?
We give you a front row seat to the world. News Talk 830 WCCO. Don't just hear the news, experience it.
830 WCCO and Computer Financial present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, a day-long event to benefit Second Harvest Heartland. This is Jace Wagner, President and CEO of Computer Financial. We're proud to join Lexus and Lindus Construction in presenting the End Hunger Together Radiothon on Tuesday, February 4th. At Computer Financial, we support local farmers who produce the food to feed our growing population. Though these hardworking farmers ensure we have the necessary supply of food, we know many in our communities are struggling. Hunger is an ongoing reality in too many homes. In fact, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region last year. On Tuesday, February 4th, we hope you'll make a donation to provide food for families, children, and seniors in our community. Every $1 donated can provide 3 meals to Minnesota families. Join Computer and 830 WCCO on Tuesday, February 4th as we help end hunger in our region.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-859-5500. 800-859-5500. Again, that's 800-859-5500.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota
doesn't stay in Minnesota because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Roads are in pretty good shape for the afternoon rush. Still want to use caution on the ramps, bridge, deck, city, and secondary roads with scattered slippery stuff with the melt and refreeze happening. Traveling west 694, that's going to be a bit sluggish. Central to 252. Traveling Highway 100, that's looking pretty good. Northbound run 394 to 94 and 494 northbound flowing nicely 394 to Bass Lake Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, let's get the latest weather forecast. Little bit of snow earlier today. Here's Chris Schaefer.
We chill tonight and tomorrow, falling back to about 3 and only warming to 15 tomorrow afternoon. Next round of light snow on tap for Wednesday. A daytime snow that could yield 1 to 2 inches. It will be warmer with a high of 27. Keeping a close eye on a round of snow coming Friday into Saturday. This one has potential to bring more accumulating snow.
A little windy out there, 10-mile-an-hour wind in St. Louis Park. It is 24 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
You look like maybe you're about to recite some poetry or sit in a corner with a little glass of wine and pontificate about something.
Yeah.
Yes, very debonair.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Making Sunday's sermon have Monday meaning. Now, let's hear faith-based teaching with real-world application. Here's our own Dan Cook with today's Monday message.
We turn the calendar to a new month. It is February 3rd. It is Monday. And,
I forgot when you click on this computer there.
I was just getting going.
I know, you're on a roll, man.
That's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
You just take it away.
No. Please.
I have
Continue.
not,
We'll edit this all out in post-production. It'll be fine. Just go ahead.
Dan Cook. Take it away.
All right. So I didn't actually preach this week.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I left you a little hint on the sheet, but that's okay. But one of the passages that I like to preach on, and I preached on it several times, it comes out of the book of Micah in the Old Testament, Micah 6:8. And this is one of those passages that I call like a bumper sticker passage. Because it's one, when you see the Christian store and the knickknacks, there's like a handful of passages that you see all the time. Philippians 4:13, Isaiah 40:10. I mean, all these ones, right? And Micah 6:8 is one of those because it sounds good. It says, "He has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God." It sounds great, right? Easy one that you put up on the wall and you can look at it and think, "Yep, I'm good."
Yep.
Trouble is, when we do that with passages, we lose the meaning that's in there. We don't dig down into it and really think about what does it mean to do justice and love kindness and to walk humbly. And those are things that even if you're not a Christian, you're not a practicing person of faith, you can absolutely learn from this wisdom that's contained within the Bible. Because when you start digging down on that, it has major implications for things that we're all talking about right now. What do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about justice for a minute, right? What does it mean to do justice? Is that just about treating everybody equally? Because I think a lot of what we hear, a lot of rhetoric that we hear in politics these days is merit-based society. That's what we want.
Yeah.
The best people should get the best positions and everybody should get what their talent takes them. And it shouldn't matter what color they are and it shouldn't matter what language they speak. And we should just, treat everybody equally, which sounds wonderful. The problem with that is that it ignores the sins of the past. It ignores the fact that there have been systems put in place in previous iterations of our society that have affected some people far worse than they've affected other people. And unless and until we can at least have that conversation about how that worked and why that happened and how we're going to do better now, we're not going to end up doing better now. If we just say, well, that's in the past, it's got nothing to do with me, I'm just going to treat everybody equally going straight forward, there's stuff beyond any of our individual controls that just prevents that from happening. Justice is not about equity only in the future. Justice is about equity for what has happened in the past as well. That's a big part of it. But here's the real rub of it. And it's why these things to me are all inextricably linked. If you try to do justice without loving kindness, or other translations of that passage label it mercy, another word that's become a buzzword lately. If you try to do justice without that kind of love, that other-oriented love, the search for justice, this is a quote from, what's the name of the pastor? I'm blanking on it now, that did the Meghan and Harry's wedding. You Google it. But I remember he said this on it was a Krista Tippett podcast I was listening to, that if you try to do justice without love, it becomes vengeance.
Michael Curry?
Bishop Michael Curry. That's it. Thank you very much for that. Bishop Michael Curry said, if you try to do justice without love, it becomes a search for vengeance. And that love needs to be not only for the people that you're trying to seek justice for, but here's the real troubling part. It needs to be for the people that have done the oppressing or have imposed these situations which marginalize people, which oppress people. You have to love your enemy just as much as you love the people who need help, right? Everybody can point at somebody that needs help and go, oh, okay, I'm going to help them out. Everybody can do that. That doesn't make anybody special. What separates people is the ones that can look at the people doing the harm and saying that you're harming yourself as much as you're harming everybody else, and I want to help you too. And that's in case you think that this is just a lefty sermon, that's the great danger on the left. That's the great danger for progressives, is self-righteousness, is thinking because they think they're correct, that the people who don't think they're correct are therefore evil and to be dismissed. No, your enemies. When Jesus says love your enemies, he's not talking about the people you just don't like.
Right.
He's talking about the people who are actively trying to harm you. In his day and age, he was talking about the Romans actively trying to oppress the Jews. And he was saying, no, we have to love them too. And that's a really, really tough ask. But it's a big part of it, because if you're trying to do justice and you don't have that kind of other-oriented love posture involved, then justice becomes a search for vengeance. And in all of this, the thread that weaves all of these things together is that last line about walking humbly, right? None of us has everything right. None of us. One of the theologians I respect more than any other once said very clearly, he says, at best, 80% of my theology is right. At best. And if this guy is only 80% right, good heavens, how much are the rest of us, screwing up, right? It's the humility to understand we don't know it all. I don't know all of your story, Jason. You and I worked together over two years.
Sure.
I don't know all of your story. You don't know all of my story. We sure as heck don't know the stories of people that we aren't around 5 days a week. And having the humility to understand that their opinions, that their ideas, that the things that drive them to do stuff that we don't understand are real, are at least valid in their mind. And we don't seek to understand that stuff, and we just judge them and say, no, you're wrong, I'm dismissing you. That's how we end up in a society where people are doing violence against each other for no apparent reason other than we disagree politically. And that's only going to get worse. That's only going to get worse. God doesn't want us, in that passage in Micah, Micah's talking to various different kings over the course of that book, but he's talking to people about, your burnt sacrifices and your animal sacrifices and all the things that the people around them think are the right things to do because that's how the pagan gods have always worked. That's not actually what God desires. What God desires sounds really, really simple. Justice, love, and humility.
Right.
But it's actually far more complicated. It's much easier to go sacrifice an animal on an altar and say, I'm good with God, right?
Right.
Instead of actually trying to be involved in the lives of the community around you.
That's where
try to understand where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing.
Is that where this was so radical in a way? Because it transformed the idea of like, I'm making an offering.
Right.
Like, you got to do something.
Which is what everybody around them, the societies around them, all did it this way, right?
Yeah.
What you see, what's amazing about the Old Testament when you read through it, is this revelation that comes through as people are trying to take religious practices and religious ideas that have been held in this area of the world for millennia and say, no, God actually wants this done a little bit differently, or he wants us to look at this a little bit differently. And that little bit, it isn't a radical change. That's why you have so many stories that are in the Bible that appear similarly in other places, because it wasn't a radical departure on the surface. But when you really get down to what it means for there to be a God whose very nature is love, is oriented towards others' love, that changes everything. It changes the whole perspective. And if we could shift our perspective just that little bit of saying we want to have justice, we want to have equity, we want to do that through love for each other and for the people who have created a system that isn't necessarily equitable, but we want to do it with humility and understanding that we don't have it all correct. And so to expect them to be all correct is ridiculous on its face.
Lots to think about, especially in the context, and I think our texters are going where you might expect them to.
Sure.
And I think it is the fundamental question here as we're in Black History Month. We're having a national discussion about DEI and diversity, because it is that question of what is the appropriate form of justice.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you have to pay for the sins of the past today, when, as you said, there are people who had nothing to do with it. It's a tricky, it's a difficult,
but
it's a difficult dance.
That comes through seeing justice as a matter of punishment or payback or that sort of thing, which isn't necessarily what justice always has to be, right? What I'm trying to drill at is we at least have to be open to having the conversations about what's happened and why it happened and how it happened before we can move beyond it. To just say we're going to put that behind us and we're going to start being equitable right now,
right,
doesn't work.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. From a practical standpoint, though, there is I do understand the question, and I suppose this would be true of any sort of justice, with whether you're looking at our current fixation is on sort of the racial side,
Sure.
Where you really have economic, you have people who have generational poverty, and that's not always. I do understand when people say, like, is there ever going to be enough sort of kind of paying off the debt of the past? What is the justice? If you just acknowledge, like I think most people can acknowledge, like, yep, it was screwed up. It was systemically screwed up. But now what do we do with that? Like, I think that is your point, that you can't really move forward to act with love without at least having some understanding of where things were before. I think that would go a long way.
It starts by having conversations, and
because it doesn't necessarily guide you to the solution, right? I think people are assuming like this is a lefty, this is a very lefty approach. You're saying you got to pay for the sins of the past, whereas really it doesn't tell you what the fix is.
No,
it doesn't tell you what the right path is. It doesn't say like, well, affirmative action is the right.
And that's
path.
what people.
It just doesn't say that at all.
People want to go to scripture and say, well, just tell me what the solution is. Just tell me what the thing to do is. And what God keeps saying over and over and over again is the solution is love.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you approach other people with that kind of other-oriented love in a humble posture, you together will work to find the solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're driving.
Your solution will come from a better place than there's people. If you're just looking at like the problem and the today.
Yep.
It's just an incomplete way to look at it. Always welcome your feedback at 651-461-9226. That is Dan's Monday message.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
My friends at Livia want you to achieve the you that you dream of. It's Jason for Livia Weight Control Centers. I want you to think about the reset that maybe you did in January. And don't get bogged down in like, oh, I didn't reach the goal or I didn't do this. Admit that maybe you need some help. For me, that was the biggest step. I knew that I was not going to lose the weight and get healthy without help. So I reached out to Livia. You can do it too. Join today. You get 25% off GLP-1 weight loss medications, all doses, plus 25% off Livia's award-winning nutrition programs. What I loved about the initial Livia experience, because that's the scariest part, right? Like saying like, I need some help. When you go in, they're going to design this program for you. They're going to listen. You're going to feel loved, and then they're going to hold you accountable. They will lay out a plan for you to achieve your goals, not theirs, yours. Start 2025 strong. Do it with Livia. LIVEA.com is the website. Join today. Get that 25% off GLP-1 medications and the award-winning nutrition programs. 855-GO Olivia.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
More than 50% of people nationwide are living paycheck to paycheck, and with costs still soaring, household food budgets are one of the first things cut. I'm Andy Lindis, president of Lindis Construction. 830-WCCO and Lindis Construction present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, benefiting Second Harvest Heartland. Please tune in on Tuesday, February 4th on 830-WCCO to help us raise much-needed funds. At Lindis Construction, we are proud and honored to be a presenting sponsor of the End Hunger Together Radiothon alongside Compeer Financial and Lexus. It's hard time for families right now. In 2024, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region facing hunger. With your help, just $1 can help Second Harvest Heartland distribute 3 meals to our neighbors. That's $1 for 3 meals. The Lindis family, News Talk 830, and Second Harvest Heartland, thank you very much for helping us make hunger history here in Minnesota.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Roads are in pretty decent shape as we continue in through the afternoon rush hour. You will find some slowing though as you travel across town, either direction between 35 W and Highway 100. 394 eastbound jammed up, Dunwoody to 94. If you're going to be traveling East 94 through St. Paul, nice ride through the downtown stretch and continues that way as you head for the border. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And the Canopy Group brings us Chris Schaefer's forecast. Maybe you got an inch or two of snow in the North Metro today. Tonight we get down to 3. It's going to be a little cold, a little windy. Tomorrow, high only 15. And then Wednesday, another chance of an inch or two of snow during the day. Right now it's 24 on CCO. Streaming live on YouTube if you want to see what our studio looks like. Dan just waved to you. Just search WCCO Radio. Go to our YouTube channel, and we're live there. Tomorrow, on location for the Make Hunger... End Hunger
End
Together.
Hunger Together.
Oh, my goodness. End Hunger Together Radiothon. So make sure you tune in tomorrow all day, and we are going to make hunger history with the End Hunger Together Radiothon.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
All right, let's talk about luxury. Let's talk about the dream car. It is Lexus. Jason DeRusha here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. And I want to talk to you about the 2025 Lexus TX. This is the family roadster that you deserve. Seating up to 7, premium comfort, incredible driver-centric features. It makes every drive memorable. This thing is so beautiful. You take it on a weekend getaway, or maybe it's your regular commuter to take the kids to hockey practice or choir, orchestra. TX bring plenty of room for the cello in the back seat. The TX brings you that luxury and that practicality so you can keep up with your busy lifestyle. Special offers in effect right now as well at Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. We thank them for their support on the End Hunger Together Radiothon. Don't miss your chance to take a test drive and experience amazing.
The news you need from the station you trust. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Matt Piper. No 25% tariffs for now against Mexico and Canada. It comes after President Trump had calls with both leaders who made some promises, as our Stacey Lynn reports from the White House.
President Trump spoke with the Canadian Prime Minister twice today. Justin Trudeau tweeting the tariffs will be postponed after he promised to implement a $1.3 billion border plan, which includes nearly 10,000 frontline personnel, new choppers, and technology. He said they'll have advanced coordination with their American partners and increase resources to stop the flow of fentanyl.
Also in Washington, chants of U.S. aid as congressional Democrats were denied entry to the USAID building as federal police blocked the doors. Secretary of State Rubio.
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him.
But there are questions if that's legal for President Trump to have Rubio in charge of what has always been an independent agency. CBS News has learned Trump will hold a joint news conference at the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow. It will be Trump's first joint presser with a foreign leader in his new term. Salvage crews have recovered part of the fuselage of a plane that plunged into the Potomac River in Washington last week after colliding with a U.S. Army helicopter. D.C. Assistant Fire Chief Gary Steen says more remains of the 67 people were found today.
We have positively identified 55 sets of remains. During recovery and salvage operations today, additional human remains were located.
Thousands of FBI employees who participated in investigations related to the January 6th Capitol riot had to complete in-depth questionnaires about their involvement. They could be fired, as our Scott McFarland reports.
There is grave concern inside the FBI that a list of names of people part of the January 6th investigation, if compiled and sent to the Department of Justice, would get leaked, subjecting those employees to harassment and threats.
Another day of protests in Los Angeles against ICE raids. They were at LA City Hall as part of a nationwide initiative called A Day Without Immigrants. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has asked state legislators to double their spending to date on Hurricane Helene recovery and approve it now. His request, $1.1 billion for businesses and to help rebuild homes.
With these funds, people can get to assessing the critical integrity of their homes, hiring contractors, and paying for building supplies.
Umpire Pat Hoberg has been fired by Major League Baseball for sharing his legal sports gambling accounts with a friend who bet on games. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 24 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Jury selection getting underway in federal court in Minneapolis today in the trial of a woman who is believed to be the ringleader of the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. Amy Bach denies allegations that she found a way to steal millions of dollars earmarked to feed needy children during the pandemic. A new report shows police reform is headed in the right direction in Minneapolis.
The report released by Effective Law Enforcement for All finds the city of Minneapolis is in fact making progress with police reform efforts as required through a settlement agreement with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. Community Safety Commissioner Todd Barnett.
This is the beginning of a long journey that will take time, but the city is fully on board and working diligently towards sustainable reform.
The city has made improvements when it comes to misconduct complaint backlogs. A backlog of use of force complaints remains a hurdle, though, for the department, according to Police Chief Brian O'Hara, who says additional training and personnel have been provided to work through that area.
The city has contracted with an independent law firm to help get those reviews through. So I can't say with certainty that the backlog will be cleared by the deadline, which is March 17th.
Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Minnesota Senate is now controlled by the DFL after the swearing in of its newest member today.
I do. Congratulations. DFL State Senator Doran Clark is taking over the seat left vacant by the death of Carrie Dietzick. Until now, the chamber was tied 33-33, and leaders had been working under a power-sharing agreement. But that changed when the balance of power shifted. DFL Senate Leader Erin Murphy acknowledged the progress made in the last couple of weeks.
The ability to balance our interests, to work together in committees, to build relationships with one another.
But Republicans expressed disappointment and fear. Republican Senate Leader Mark Johnson.
This vote today, members, is a vote to delve back into a partisanship in which one political party controls the entire agenda, cutting off half of the state's constituents.
That's WCCO's Susie Jones reporting. A girls' high school hockey coach is in critical condition after hitting his head on the ice in a freak accident. 44-year-old Jason Jensen was running practice in Victoria Friday night when a player accidentally ran into him, knocking him to the ice. He was not wearing a helmet. When he's not coaching, Jensen is a lieutenant with the Lakeville Police Department. Here's Chief Brad Paulson.
We're used to, as first responders, responding to incidents like he was involved in and helping at the outset and kind of being in that caregiver role. And so the script has flipped a lot for our staff to now kind of be on the other side of this with one of our own.
High school hockey coaches are not required to wear helmets during practice, though the Minnesota State High School League highly recommends it. A spokesman says he also expects the league to have discussions about it again as a result of Jensen's accident. The family of a 19-year-old college student buried and killed in a landslide files a wrongful death lawsuit against the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Jack Loso was killed when a sandstone cliff at Minneopa State Park near Mankato gave way in December of 2023. He was a student at Minnesota State Mankato and had been visiting the park with his sister and cousin. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Traffic is pretty decent right now. West 94, some slowing into downtown Minneapolis as moved past Riverside all the way into the Lowry Hill Tunnel. Possible crash 35W northbound near Lake Street. Some slowing past the scene into the downtown stretch. North 100, a little bit of congestion around County Road 81 and 169 northbound flowing nicely. Highway 7 all the way up toward 610. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant Personal Injury Attorneys, seeking justice for the injured, and you can find them at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
I finally have some snow to talk about. We'll take a break tonight, mostly cloudy, falling back to the single digits. It stays chilly tomorrow, basically a cloudy sky with a high of 15. Next round of snow comes Wednesday. Should be light, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Another round is coming late Friday into Saturday. This one has the potential to bring even more snow.
Cloudy right now, 24 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
In depth, in the know. In other words, News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's drive time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool, brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
It is Monday. Good to have you with us here on Drive Time. Laura, we had a great weekend.
What'd you do?
We, on Saturday, went all in on winter.
Good.
So, I have told you that one of my goals this year was to be less crabby about winter.
Yep, and embrace it.
So we went out to the Minnesota Ice Festival.
Great.
And saw the ice carving competition.
Mhm.
So they brought in these guys from all over the country, 5 or 6 different teams. This is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen to my dispatch, my report from Egan, from the scene. A lot of influencers like to pretend that they like winter. Are they coming out to the Minnesota Ice Festival in the middle of a blizzard? Absolutely not. Who loves winter more than we do? Exactly. Perfect ice carving weather, right? Storybook. So good. Yeah. That was a little sarcasm from the winds at the ideal conditions, right? Low windy. Winds at the time of this video were 27 miles an hour.
Saturday afternoon was not exactly pleasant, was it?
We went to an ice bar, part of the Great Northern Festival at
Union Depot.
Yep. And they did tell us that we could take our drink inside the Union Depot.
Let me pop in for 1 second here because I was inside that Union Depot Saturday morning doing dog yoga, probably right where you walked in the entrance. And it was so fabulous. I just absolutely loved it. It was a great, great day.
So dog yoga is just downward dog the whole time?
No,
or
you
what?
bring your dog.
Or you bring your dog.
Yes.
And what does the dog do?
Well, these are well-behaved dogs that these people brought, but I bet there were at least 20 dogs just hanging out,
So
just
you're
being
just-
right on the mat with their owners. And
The dogs would just sit there?
Yeah, they would just sit there. They would come
Wow.
and say hello. I was right between the best dogs in the land. Now, picture this combination, if you will. A wiener dog, Bernese Mountain Dog mix.
Okay.
Think of that breeding
Oof,
experiment.
right.
Okay. But this was the sweetest little guy. His name was Wally, and he came over to me a whole bunch of times, and I just loved him. And then on the other side of me was Sierra, who was a beautiful red, I think Irish setter mix. And I just loved it. It was so great. I didn't bring my own dog because she would have been a maniac, but I loved everybody else's.
So the dogs. Now I've been to goat yoga before.
Yeah, it's like that, but dogs. They just hang out.
Like when I first heard about goat yoga, like I thought that there would be some involvement of the goat, right? Like you're doing some yoga pose and then like the goat is
It's
like
going to stand on you.
your
Yeah.
back or something.
Well, you could.
I guess they're unrelated. It has nothing to do with the other,
True.
right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's always fun to be around dogs.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, I interrupted
You know
your
who is
story.
who is very busy at Union Depot on Saturday? The custodial staff.
Yeah.
A lot of dogs.
There's a dog expo in there too.
The dog
Yeah.
expo,
Mhm.
doggy expo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you had the combination of people spilling their drinks from the ice bar, and then the dogs doing what dogs do.
Yeah. Marble floors, though, easy to clean up.
Easy to clean. That is true. The Grammy Awards were last night. Did you watch any? I missed it.
Just a real little bit, not much.
So I missed the whole thing.
Okay.
So to help me feel like I know what's going on in the world, Dan was nice enough to gather some of the best moments from the Grammys. The big news is that Kendrick Lamar, for the first time, I think in history, a diss track won like the Grammy for Album of the Year, his diss
Mm.
track against Drake. So there you go. Here, what do we want to play, Dan? Should we play? How about this Lady Gaga Bruno Mars performance? Man, Lady Gaga is so freaking talented.
She sure is.
Just take a listen to some of this.
I'd be safe and home if I was in LA. If I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. Dived into a journey. I passed along the week.
So
So good.
a lot of LA, California love
Yes.
because of the fires.
A lot of fundraising. They had the firefighters out there.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
When the firefighters presented, was it out? I always get messed up because it's like album of the year, record of the year.
I know. There's
I
so
don't
many
know, wherever it
categories.
was, they came. Beyonce won.
Yes.
Finally.
I was so happy to see that.
Album of the year for Cowboy Carter.
That record, I don't know if you've ever listened to
Yes,
it, but
it's-
it is a work of art. It is amazing.
So there is some debate today because it won Best Country.
Yes.
And the Country Music Association didn't recognize it as a country
No.
album.
And you didn't see it, but if you could have seen the look on Casey Musgrave's face after Beyonce won that in that category,
Right.
if looks could kill, it was pretty bad.
It is some of the challenge of having these awards in certain categories, and we see this with like the Emmy Awards for comedy, right?
Mhm.
And it's always these shows, and you're like, this is not a funny show.
Little obscure
Like,
show, yeah.
Why is this in the comedy category?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now I think we see so much more genre bending artists where
Mhm.
you have country singers who are on the top 40 pop charts.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce is a pop, she's a pop artist,
Mm-hmm.
but this is unquestionably, to me anyway, a country album, right?
Yeah,
But
with
it's
a modern
also-
twist. It's not your traditional sound of country, for not by any means.
So what is country?
Yeah, right.
What
Right,
do,
good question.
what do any of these things mean? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
and I can understand, like, if you are a traditional Nashville country artist, you'd be a little ticked that like
Mhm.
the Grammy went to an album that is like, at least it's up for debate as to
Mhm.
whether it is a country album or not.
Right.
I don't know. Some of these lines, the genre lines, don't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
But what do I know?
right.
Have-
And then the fashion, of course.
Oh, pretty good, I thought.
Pretty good, except for the chick who didn't wear anything, basically. Whose girlfriend was she? Kanye West. She wore a sheer see-through, they're calling it a dress.
Okay.
But
this is
there was nothing there. She came out in a black cape of some sort and dropped her cape, and you could see absolutely everything.
this is Bianca Sensori.
Yes.
And
Big controversy.
I don't see the issue. I'm looking at the pictures.
You
That's
will.
That's oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Right.
I mean, the music world.
Can't really do that on TV, though, I don't think. Broadcast television.
No, you sure can. That was CBS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't do the red carpet, so I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so strange.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye is just a mess. Whatever. Some of these guys, you're like, oh my goodness.
I know.
Texture says they saw the band Goat Yoga at the entry. Big fan.
Awesome. I love that.
Have you heard of boomer asking?
Boomer asking, no.
So I love this term. I just want to leave you with this concept.
Okay.
Because this is the way people ask. It's sort of like the humble brag, but boomer asking is you ask a question so you can respond with a boast. So, like, for example, if I said to you, Laura, how was your weekend? And you said, well, I went to Goat Yoga. Like, oh, I took a private jet to,
Right. So
whatever.
you have a chance to say whatever you feel like bragging about.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they call it boomer asking. So it's like a boomerang, but it's so you bring it right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, the Wall Street Journal writes about this, and they're like,
knock it off.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
I think, who really needs to knock it off? People who make up these names for, like, is this new? Like, people have been doing this forever. You ask a question just so you can respond with a story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Boomer asking, though. That's a good name.
It's a decent term.
Yeah, it fits.
It's a decent term.
It fits.
Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
It is 5:18. That's Laura Oakes. Dave Schwartz is coming up in about 10 minutes. Oh, we got questions about his Minnesota Wild. It's Super Bowl week. All of that coming up as we chat with Dave. But first, DeRusha Hour News headlines. St. Paul getting aggressive about converting offices to condos. We'll talk about that and more next.
Jason DeRusha and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You maybe heard Laura and I talking about the Minnesota Ice Festival. If you go to the website right now, MinnesotaIceFestival.com, you want to get there fast because you really only have 2 more weekends to come and check it out. The Minnesota Ice Festival features the world's largest ice maze. Guinness came out there and said, yep, 18,000 square feet. Now, Alyssa and I were out there, and you can see my video on my Instagram account. But we were out there on Saturday. I'm not kidding. It took us 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get out of the ice maze. We hit dead end after dead end, and I was about ready to give up. It's a legit maze. And that's why Guinness certified it. But there's a lot more to do at the Ice Festival. There's an ice skating rink. There is an ice slide. There are these different warming huts, all these igloos with different games like ping pong and just all sorts of, there's like a Plinko type thing, all sorts of fun stuff. And a warming house as well with hot chocolate and alcoholic drinks and all sorts of good stuff. Embrace winter. Be a part of it. Week 5 tickets are selling fast, so get it going at MinnesotaIceFestival.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
The real estate market and our economy are shifting fast. Hey, it's Vanita. With recent market changes, interest rate fluctuation, and a slight shift toward a buyer's market, you need to be fully informed about the real estate market and how to best protect your equity. My good friend John Schuster of Coldwell Banker Realty and Paul Douglas will be hosting another free 45-minute online seminar. You'll be able to learn more about how interest rates and realtor commissions have changed, how to make thousands more in your home sale by having your home properly prepared for the market. There are only 4 webinar times available. Tuesday, February 4th, 11 and 6. Thursday, February 6th, 11 and 6. Sign up today. This is the last week to register. The best time to sell your home is during the spring market, and that's just weeks away. There are only a few spots left. Go to johnschustergroup.com. Click the banner at the top of the page marked Home Seller Forum.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's a piece of art.
It is very interesting. Could be very euphoric, but could be demoralizing.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Rush Hour News headlines on this Monday, February the 3rd. St. Paul getting aggressive about converting offices into homes, so much so they think they could have 1,200 new downtown residents. Big construction going on. Fred Mello with a front page Pioneer Press story. 8 penthouses going in right now on the top floor of the former Ecolab Tower. They call it Stella now. Stella! It's 6th and Wabasha Street. Pretty cool stuff. The workers just started replacing windows on the 17-story building's glassy exterior. There'll be 174 high-end apartments, and I know what you're thinking. 174 households want to move into downtown St. Paul right now? Well, there is interest. Over on St. Peter Street, Chris Sherman and Sherman Associates, weeks away from unveiling their transformation of Landmark Tower, another former office tower. That'll be 187 units of residential housing. And they're trying to do a different developer, trying to do the Ham building, leaving the first floor and lower floors the same. There's a retail, restaurant, and theater space, but they're going to add 129 residential units on the upper floors. The Fred story is very interesting because you're looking at 800,000 square feet of underutilized office space. It would be impossible to make the budget of this work out if it wasn't for historic tax credit. And so ultimately that's the question, right? Like, is this what you want to do? Is this how you get more housing? And like, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool because you're not going to, the government's not going to make people go back to work in downtown St. Paul. So let's use this office, use these buildings and try to get some more housing out there. I think that's cool. Kids made joking threats against their school and one sheriff arrested them all. Man, this Washington Post story is fascinating because on a gut check level, when you hear in the aftermath of a school shooting that there's a rash of threats made against schools, it's copycats, it's kids trying to get school canceled, it's kids who think it's funny. But it happens so much. They did an analysis after that Appalachia high school shooting in Georgia where a 14-year-old was accused of gunning down 2 students and a pair of teachers. At least 477 people were arrested in the 2 weeks after for making threats. It's nearly 100 more than in the aftermath of the 3 previous mass school shootings combined. So are there more threats or are the cops deciding enough? I think to a certain degree it is the law enforcement community saying we've had it. The sheriff of Volusia County, Florida, Mike Chitwood, said enough. We're arresting people. Now, I think your reaction is probably the same as mine, where you think like, good, arrest these people. But then you read this story and you hear about a 9th grader, Lori, lying in bed amid her stuffed unicorns and Hello Kitty dolls when she opens Instagram, types blowing the school up tomorrow over a hot pink background. Next day, she's cuffed, charged with a felony, and taken to jail for 3 weeks. And then you hear from some of these kids that the Post tracked down. And the sheriff here, like, publicize these kids' names, put their picture out there, like trying to scare other kids straight, which again, like my initial reaction is, hell yeah, shame these people. This should never happen. But then you think now these 13, 14-year-olds their face is out there forever. They're picked, like, making an example out of these kids makes sense on one level, but there is a cost, a human cost to those kids. I don't know. Cold plunge. Have you jumped into the cold plunge trend?
I hate being cold, but I'm doing it because I want to better myself. Just do it. I'm going to do it. We do hard things. Do it. Yes, you can do it. You can do it. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. I control your breathing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I feel it would go for me. Have you cold plunged, Dan?
Heck no. Absolutely not.
Lifetime, the athletic country club, fitness, wellness brand. We used to call it the gym, the Lifetime Gym, but they don't like that anymore.
Don't do that. Don't ever say that to a Lifetime Fitness person.
It's an athletic country club. It's a way of life. It's I don't know. They're adding 70 cold plunges to different clubs. 3 Twin Cities Lifetime clubs already have a cold plunge. Naturally, Edina has it. Shan Happening has it, and the newest club in Rosemount has it. This year, Egan, Minnetonka, Plymouth, Woodbury, and Eden Prairie are all getting cold plunges. So they're taking hot tubs and retrofitting them. I mean, do you just turn on the cold water? Like, what is the...
You gotta dump a couple of bags of ice in there first.
How complicated is this? Cold plunges are bathing pools typically kept between the temperature of 45 and 50 degrees. It's warmer than a Minnesota lake. It's in the 30s, but 45 or 50 degrees is still like a slap in the face if you plunge, isn't it? I know people who swear by the cold plunge thing. I don't know. With the various aches and pains I have, I'm willing. I'm willing.
Pretty confident I'd be swearing during the cold plunge, actually.
I would do it for the show. Could we figure out a way to make this a bit for the show? My cold plunge
at the fair?
A cold plunge dunk tank. What do you think about
Something
that?
like that. Yeah, I like it.
I don't know. It's hilarious that Minneapolis, they do this whole article like it's some major sign, and it probably is. I'm sure it's like, you can't just turn down the temperature of the hot tub, but that's what it seems like it is to me. That's the DeRusha Hour news headlines here on CCO. In just a minute, we have got Dave Schwartz. Lots to talk about in the sports world. What a miserable weekend of sports, though, here in Minnesota. We'll talk about it with Dave in a minute.
More Drive Time with DeRusha is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about our friends at Lexus of Maplewood and Lexus of Wayzata. It's Jason here for Charlie Swanson and these great local dealerships. I love telling the story of our local Lexus dealers because I don't know if people realize just the incredible teams and the incredible work that our local dealers are doing to support our communities. We would not be able to do the End Hunger Together Radiothon without support that we get from Lexus. When we reached out and said, hey, like, we want to make a difference in hunger in our neighborhood, Charlie Swanson and the Napleton dealerships, Lexus and Wayzata, Lexus and Maplewood, they didn't hesitate. They're like, we're in. What can we do? We are in. They want to make their communities better. And that sort of all-in approach is what you'll feel when you go to take a test drive. Now, Alyssa and I drove the 2025 Lexus NX, and it's a beautiful SUV. They got big one. You need a TX, you need seating for 7, they got you. You need RX, which is sort of the classic Minnesota Lexus SUV. They've got them. NX, a little sportier, a little smaller. Just incredible selection from terrific people. We will talk with them tomorrow at End Hunger Together. But you go visit them in person. Stop into the local Minneapolis Lexus dealer and experience amazing.
Our job is to bring you the most compelling news talk on the dial. Your job is to listen and engage. You don't even need to apply.
I see from your resume there's a gap in your CCO listening. Can you explain that?
Well...
Look, this position requires someone passionate, someone committed to tuning in and taking part. I need to know if I can count on you.
Look no further. I'm your man, or woman. I'm your fan.
We're looking for more listeners like you to become super fans of News Talk 830 WCCO. Are you up for the role? WCCO is an equal opportunity radio station.
830 WCCO and Computer Financial present the 16th annual End Hunger Together Radiothon, a day-long event to benefit Second Harvest Heartland. This is Jace Wagner, President and CEO of Computer Financial. We're proud to join Lexus and Lindus Construction in presenting the End Hunger Together Radiothon on Tuesday, February 4th. At Computer Financial, we support local farmers who produce the food to feed our growing population. Though these hardworking farmers ensure we have the necessary supply of food, we know many in our communities are struggling. Hunger is an ongoing reality in too many homes. In fact, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors.
Sorry, I had a listener on the phone wanted to tell me all about his cold water plunge experience.
Provide food for families, children, and seniors in our community.
Loud and clear. I just couldn't get away from the phone.
It can provide 3 meals. Join Compeer and 830 WCCO on Tuesday, February 4th, as we help end hunger in our region.
What's your love language? Maybe it's letting your loved ones
talk to me a little more.
Full night's sleep, or giving someone the gift of being pain-free. Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better.
I think he's going to the game tonight, so he's more interested in what kind of seats he's going to have.
MINNELEAF.com. Mini Leaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products.
So we're also live streaming on YouTube.
Send them to you if Mark has used them. We have both experienced the
Oh wow!
from the triple
So it's
cream. It's such
so
relief.
obviously the
And also
YouTube stream is coming from the same
gummies,
computer as the clean feed, so we were a little unsure if they'd be conflicting with each other.
Pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits.
So far, it seems okay, but if you start hearing something funky, let us know right away.
Mini-Leaf products, and you can look at the studies on the website, minileaf.com.
I mean, the thing about the computers we have here is that they're so good and modern that there shouldn't be any kind of problem.
Means quality.
Atari, actually.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelty. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelty can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelty?
Just send them a text.
Text MIND to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or
Interesting note, I'm being told that the listeners are hearing me in the background during the commercials. I assume that that's when I'm talking to you.
Now, for a link to your exclusive offer, text MIND to 200-300.
So I'm glad I haven't cussed.
200-300. MIND 200-300.
Now on CCO. Let's
Good
do
idea.
traffic
Stand by.
and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Minor slowing, north 169 is midway past Medicine Lake Road. After that, speeds at the posted, heading up to 610. The roads are in good shape. No real issues there, but you might find a scattered slippery spot on the ramps and the bridge decks. If you're traveling 494 westbound, got some slowing there as you move between France and 100. Up in the northwest corner of the Metro 10 westbound, flowing nicely from University to Anoka. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
That snow moved out of here pretty quickly. I got about an inch in Maple Grove, a little more. Alex, I think, got like 5 inches. It's out of here. Here's Chris Schaefer.
We chill tonight and tomorrow, falling back to about 3 and only warming to 15 tomorrow afternoon. Next round of light snow on tap for Wednesday, a daytime snow that could yield 1 to 2 inches. It will be warmer with a high of 27. Keeping a close eye on a round of snow coming Friday into Saturday. This one has potential to bring more accumulating snow.
Right now, it is windy, 10-mile-an-hour wind. It's 23 on CCO.
This This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. He'll say what he thinks.
I hesitate to write them off after 4 games, but
Even when he isn't always right.
I'll once again admit that I was wrong. Shows you how much I know.
But that's what we love about him.
And I'm a Jersey snob.
The always entertaining and authentic Dave Schwartz now joins Jason for his weekly appearance on Drive Time with DeRusha.
And Dave Schwartz is with us right now. Hi, Dave. Well, good afternoon to you. How are you? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, it's a fair question. I think no, I did not. Yeah. It's I mean, we are streaming using like a Logitech webcam. So I felt like my level of effort in my appearance should be commensurate to the camera that we're using. Uh, now it's very interesting because the people who are streaming this, so let me give people a little bit the behind the scenes. So Dave Schwartz is visiting with us from his home, and we do this through an internet browser. So Dave is in a studio that we send him a link, and he comes in, and you sound amazing, but that's how we do this. Now, the YouTubers, I don't think, are able to hear you because I'm which is the way I believe most of these segments should be operating. This is perfection. Now, on the air, you are on the air. It's all good on for the on the air audience, but for YouTube, because I am running the stream. What all are we running out of this one computer? We have the stream, the web camera. We have Dave Schwartz. Yeah, I got a stock tip channel. I'm selling things with affiliate links
I
on
think half
another
the TVs in
browser.
the building run off of this thing. Yeah.
The HVAC for this entire building is controlled. Mhm. All right. So I figured out how to like screen share. So I put the YouTube folks are getting a lovely photo of you and your wife from your Instagram. Like I figured out it's very nice. Like Shannon, I assume I assume it's her Emmy in the picture, not yours. I mean, she is. Yeah. Is that a source of marital dispute? Mm, yeah. Yeah, like I always find it amazing when you read these stories about men who are in crisis because their wife earns more money than them. Hell, absolutely. I've been asking Alyssa for years. I'm like, I thought you were going to be a CFO and I wasn't going to have to work anymore. I'm like, what is this? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And it's, oh, hell yeah. Now you and I are we're going to lunch this Friday, right? It's on my calendar. Yeah. At the Minneapolis Club. Oh, Cook is looking at me like, where's my Minneapolis Club invite? It's, I mean, I think Dave got invited like on the air is how this came.
What time are you guys meeting for lunch?
I mean, it is that we took this day off. I'm off work as
Right.
well.
I know.
So,
What time are you guys meeting?
yeah, I just wanted to have my full attention on
Yeah,
you.
that's exactly what it was.
I don't know. My calendar says 11:30. So, but
I'm,
we'll let
I'm busy at that time.
we'll
So.
let. All right. Where to start? Do we start with the Super Bowl preview? Are you excited about like Super Bowl media night tonight? Is that tonight? Yeah. Now that was back when it was, less fun, but still fun, right? But now it's like a yeah, yeah, right. And yeah. It used to be crazier, right? But now, like, they sell tickets and it's much more orchestrated. Like, I don't know, it used to be, like, organically crazy, and now it's, like, manufactured crazy, right? Yeah. Unreal. No. Yeah, they are unbelievable at it. Um, are you gonna watch the Super Bowl? You were sort of negative about the Super Bowl when, the matchup was set. Now you're in. It's for Kendrick Lamar. We're all watching for Kendrick, right? Yeah. It should be a good game, right? I mean, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Yeah. Blockbuster NBA trade. There were 2 big trades over the weekend. N no Timberwolves movement, nothing for our club, but this, Dallas Lakers trade, I do think will certainly affect the Timberwolves, uh, and their chances this year. I don't I am fascinated by everything about this trade. Dallas sending probably I mean, Luka Doncic is 25 years old. Perhaps, I mean, when he's playing well, he is maybe the best player in the NBA, best big man. And Anthony Davis is an aging, still incredible defender. But was Luka like, did they hate him in Dallas? Like, why would they unload him? Hmm. Right. Yes. Because Luka didn't ask for a trade, which happens so often in the NBA. He's young, 25. He, and he said in his post, which what he didn't say in his post is also noteworthy to me, but he says, I thought I'd spend my career here, and I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. Now, what did he not say? Anything about the Mavericks, anything about any of his teammates. Talked about Mavs fans, but that was it. But you're like, it is just remarkable. You just don't see to put it in football terms, right? Like, who would be a generational talent? Who would be that big of a star where people would be like, whoa, I can't believe they would unload him. You know, it just it's like trading Mahomes. You'd be like, no. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. And there it is. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. All right, stand by. When we come back, I need to get your take on this high school hockey coach who got knocked to the ice during practice, because I know you've coached hockey as well. The helmet question, should coaches be wearing helmets? We'll talk about that with Dave Schwartz in a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Let's talk about high-end, incredible fashion for men. JH and Sons at the Galleria, you got to get there. It's Jason for my friends at JH and Sons. They're in Edina. They've been in Minnesota for more than 50 years. The Halberstadt family. Jeff Halberstadt doing a heck of a job with JH and Sons. In fact, he was recognized as one of the best men's retailers in the country. JH and Sons is unbelievable. You walk in, you're going to meet Kevin or Chuck or Bryce. Unparalleled service from these guys. They've got Dean, the best tailor in the Twin Cities. And so you'll go in and say, like, hey, I've got a birthday party coming, or I have a dinner out, or I have maybe a wedding or prom season for a young soon-to-be graduate. All of these reasons to get tailored clothing, but then also great workwear, casual wear, unbelievable clothes. I, last night, for a dinner party, was wearing a sweater and a little jacket that I got at JH and Sons. They've got clothing that will fit your style and fit your budget. And the premium service is what makes the difference. Sign up for their email list. You can do it at jhnSons.com, but go visit the Galleria, JH and Sons.
More than 50% of people nationwide are living paycheck to paycheck, and with costs still soaring, household food budgets are one of the first things cut. I'm Andy Lindis, president of Lindis Construction. 830 WCCO.
Dave, we'll be a little tight for time when we get back.
Present the 16th annual End Together Radiothon benefiting Second Harvest Heartland.
Don't know yet, but it'll probably be
Tune in
like
on
2
Tuesday,
minutes.
February 4th on 830 WCCO to help us raise much needed funds. At Lindis Construction, we are proud and honored to be a presenting sponsor of the End Hunger Together Radiothon alongside Compeer Financial and Lexus. It's hard time for families right now. In 2024, Second Harvest Heartland provided a record-setting 145 million meals to neighbors in our region facing hunger. With your help, just $1 can help Second Harvest Heartland distribute 3 meals to our neighbors. That's $1 for 3 meals. The Lindis family, News Talk 830, and Second Harvest Heartland, thank you very much for helping us make hunger history here in Minnesota.
The real estate market and our economy are shifting fast. Hey, it's Vanita. With recent market changes, interest rate fluctuation, and a slight shift toward a buyer's market, you need to be fully informed about the real estate market and how to best protect your equity. My good friend John Schuster of Coldwell Banker Realty and Paul Douglas will be hosting another free 45-minute online seminar. You'll be able to learn more about how interest rates and realtor commissions have changed, how to make thousands more in your home sale by having your home properly prepared for the market. There are only 4 webinar times available. Tuesday, February 4th, 11 and 6. Thursday, February 6th, 11 and 6. Sign up today. This is the last week to register. The best time to sell your home is during the spring market, and that's just weeks away. There are only a few spots left. Go to johnschustergroup.com. Click the banner at the top of the page marked Home Seller Forum.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Still noticing some slowdowns north 169, 394 heading up to Medicine Lake Road. Northbound 35E, not too bad, 94 to 694. Traveling on the south side, south 169 running at the coast at speeds 494 all the way down to the area of Highway 41. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Gutman Law bringing us the forecast tonight down to 3 degrees. Tomorrow cold, only up to 15. Wednesday, chance of light snow during the day, 1 to 2 inches. Another round of snow late Friday into Saturday. That could be a real one. Right now it's 22 in Minneapolis on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
I'm running out of ways to explain this other than odd, bizarre, unprecedented, weird. I'll use all the good words that everybody likes to use these days.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dave, I know you have coached high school hockey. This story is it's devastating. Jason Jensen, working with the Holy Family girls team in Victoria on Friday, player runs into him, knocks him to the ice. He was not wearing a helmet, and he is in critical condition with a brain injury. Just awful. And he's a lieutenant for Lakeville Police Department. I mean, this guy, incredible life of service, right? To the community and then to the hockey community. Oh, just unfortunate luck, right? Yeah. Yeah. Should it be mandatory that coaches wear helmets on the ice? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Mhm. Yeah. Right. Praying for him for sure. It's just awful. Dave, thank you. That is our show. Henry Lake is coming up next. I'm going to the Wolves game. Say hi if you're there. I'll see you tomorrow.
We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business.